He sees this little neon spider crawl up. He's like, I'm going to bite you. And it bites him. And we go into this wonderful little 2D segment, and then it becomes 3D, chat, as the venom circulates through his circulatory system, chat, his very bloodstream, changing him on a subatomic level. And then we cut back, and he goes... He just hits and the spider falls down dead. I have done what I was chosen for. And that's it, and he walks away. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Dad, I love you.
That's a copy.
But now, chat, comes the part of the stream where we need to get into the nitty-gritty details of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I know that's why a lot of you are here right now. You want to hear my thoughts on this movie. Does Chris like this film, or does he hate it? I'll reveal it to you. I'll reveal it to you in just a bit. But before we go ahead and start talking about it, I need to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse, chat, the 2018 theatrical animated Spider-Man movie? Focusing not on Peter Parker. Well, Peter Parker's in it, of course. But focusing mostly on Miles Morales, character created by Marvel in the last 10 years or so. Artie says, me. Berserker, I haven't, but I have the Blu-ray. And we'll do this. Oh, you do it, Berserker. Yes, I mean, I could give you my rendition. I can tell you my version of this film, but definitely do yourself a favor and watch it. It looks great on Blu-ray. That's how I watched it recently, because I own it on Blu-ray. Dark Slayer, of course, you're a sunflower. I don't know how to, I love that. There's a point in this movie I love where he doesn't even know what the fuck Post Malone is saying, and he's just making up words and sunflower and all that. I love that. That's right. He's like me. It's like me. I don't know musics. No, me. Way too many times to count. Nice. Marcus, about 6 times. Bloodsucking Gamers, I loves it. Brando says many times. Bloodsucking Gamers needs it. Hamilton Burger, I've seen it. I love it. Best Spider movie. Also, best Sony Pictures animation movie. I have to think about, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I love Mitchell's and the Machines. I gotta go back and forth which one I like more. I think they're both amazing. But yeah, I think I might also lean towards Into the Spider-Verse as well. Guys, I have questions. That's right. We did our discussion. That was awesome. Chat, please do check out our Discourse episode 10, the Patreon, where we talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Got people that seen it before who had just seen it. It was a great conversation. Fisher, I love it better than sex. BTS. Luke the Boss, I have it, and I liked it. V, too many times, if that's possible. Good to see you, V, by the way. No, you can watch as many times as you want. Bad Boy says, I love this movie. It is a masterpiece. Ace Rock, one of my all-time favorite films. ATF films. Nice. Serious? I seen it once. I thought it was pretty cool. Gonna watch it again to see if my opinion changes. I like that. I like it. Helen Berger, though, with Sony Pictures Animation, that's what I say. It's true. They really only made 2 truly amazing movies. I mean, we can either get Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or the Emoji Movie. The quality barometer's like, Jesus Christ, you're getting whiplash, chat. It's gonna knock your fucking head off. It's gonna knock your block off, so be careful. A morsel of Bilbo Baggins, only 3 feet tall. Thank you for the 25 biddies and welcome to stream. Movie is better than sex. Nice. And Colonel uses the 49 biddy donation. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you again, Bilbo. Thank you again, Colonel Useless. Well, chat, I have seen this movie several times. I saw it twice in the theaters. I can't pretend to say, like, well, I didn't think the movie. No, I love this movie. It's fantastic. It was the best animated film that came out in 2018. It was. I think it's one of the best movies that came out the last decade. It showcased Miles Morales in one of the best ways possible, introduced him to the mainstream. And he was already around, of course, but this was very much, you know, a lot of people's introduction to that character. A character I always really liked and saw the potential of, and so happy to see in this way. Never thought it would be through an animated movie. If that's released an animated movie, I thought we would get a live-action Miles Morales way before an animated film or, you know, that kind of thing. But it happened, and they did a great job. This film is such a love letter to Spider-Man and his various eras and various interpretations of his character. and other Spider people. I mean, not just Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker, but also Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy. I think it's some of the best Gwen Stacy. So it's so cool to see Gwen Stacy come back over all these years as in this new way, reinterpreting this new way as his character. Fantastically voiced by Haley Steinfeld, whose career is just skyrocketing chat in recent years, doing everything right. Arcane this year, and Hawkeye as Kate Bishop. I mean, yes, you have Shamik Moore, who of course is voicing Miles Morales in this movie. Probably best known before this for the film Dope, which is actually an excellent film. Jake Johnson is Schlubby Spider-Man, Jake Johnson for the rest of his life is just going to be cast as the Schlubby guy. He's constantly typecast, but he's fucking great as Peter B. Parker, the B Spider-Man, the secondary one, the second tier. I love that. Chris Pine plays, super, blonde hair, blue-eyed, the perfect, ideal Spider-Man movie. He's not I make it sound like an asshole, but, he's also in this. You have Nicolas Cage in the film as Spider-Noir. You have John Mulaney as Peter Parker. I forget the actress. Let me give some respect to the actress who plays Penny Parker, chat. The anime, arigato, Spider-Person. Kimiko Glenn also does a fantastic job as Penny Parker / Spider in this movie. I mean, everyone does. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is excellent. You have Mahershala Ali as Aaron Davis Prowler. Like, this is impressive. Lily Tomlin is Aunt May. Wonderful voice cast. A lot of them get a lot to do in this film. Very fun, or at least they have really good moments at the very least. Of course, this is kind of viewed as, the Phil Lord and Chris Miller project, and they are producers on it. They were working on this film since, I didn't even know this, since like 2014, 2015. But I do want to give respect to the directors, because I do think that they don't get the credit that they deserve for this movie, because everyone says, oh yeah, Phil Lord and Chris Miller made that. It's like, listen, they produced it. Phil Lord is a co-writing credit on it. But I want to give a shout out to Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman, who also co-wrote the movie along with Phil Lord. They deserve a lot of credit for this film, chat. I just don't feel like they get any for it, which is too bad. Because Useless, again, thank you so much for the 35 base. Appreciate that, good sir. Movie came out. It was a critical darling, chat. It was on a best of list. A lot of people say, hey, it's their favorite Spider-Man film. It's not my favorite. I will say, it's not my favorite Spider-Man film. I still give that to Homecoming. And it's for very personal reasons. But Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse is a very, very, very close second. It's amazing. It's I'm gonna give you my rating at the end, but you kind of already know what my rating is. Do I have a problem? I only have maybe a couple criticisms of it, and even then they're not like this is awful. They're just like, well, that didn't particularly make me care for that, but my criticisms are few and far between. It's still a great movie, in my opinion. An amazing movie. And it had obviously commercial success. It had a budget of about $90 million. Box office was $375.5 million. It's funny because you would think this movie's going to have obviously a $1 billion box office. And I think the next ones, because you had Enter the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2 announced. Those are going to come out. I think those are going to be $1 billion movies. You also have the spinoff, which I think is Spider-Gwen. I think Spider-Gwen is going to be the spinoff film. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's confirmed, but I think I've heard something to that degree. So that'll be fun. But I do think that Sony honestly just didn't have any fucking clue what they had. And that's why it just doesn't feel like their movie at all. It feels like they were so hands-off of this film. And it was, Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and these directors, little pet projects, able to do what they want to do and had a lot of creative freedom. It just feels weird that this is Sony's movie? Like Sony, Emoji Movie, Venom. This is one of theirs. It's kind of bizarre to me. It's very bizarre that this is one of theirs. And I don't know if they gave it a lot of press or a lot of attention, but I think since its release, it has just grown, and people's appreciation of it has grown. I'm sure this is killed on VOD, chat, and streaming. There's no doubt about it. So I'm kind of surprised, but it only made $325 million, but I think later on it made a lot more money. And of course, I think the sequels are going to do even better. Lee Strasberg, yep, he's the one who voiced Kingpin. He does a fantastic job in this as well. I love his Brooklyn Kingpin. I love that thick New York accent. Spider-Man, Chris Pine, Spider-Man asks him, how's business? He's like, booming. I love that. He's great. And I just love the art design for Kingpin. He's just this absolute fucking unit of a man. With his big fat head in the middle of this giant square round body. And he's intimidating as all hell. I love the Kingpin design. It just makes me salivate for a live action Kingpin Spider-Man confrontation chat, like between Vincent D'Onofrio and Tom Holland. I'm like, ooh, I'm so tintillated by that. But this, they do a great job. They do a great job. And he's fucking brutal. He's fucking brutal in this movie. It's very scary. Koki, Chris, I know you're a massive Sex and the City fan. Oh, of course, man, of course. So, your thoughts on the new HBO revival series? Joke. I know you don't care. Yeah, I didn't even know about it. I guess there was a controversy recently over that. I have no idea. I have no idea about that. But, and thank you, Briber, for another 5 biddies, and Luke the Boss for another biddy. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. But yeah, I mean, the movie is, for a lot of people, including the people in the chat, it's like their favorite Spider-Man film, and I totally understand why. It's again, it's a love letter to the character. I mean, you feel just the emotion come across throughout this entire film. The love and appreciation that they have for Peter Parker and Miles Morales and the various iterations of them, the alternate versions of the Spider people, which is awesome. And I just can't wait to go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details. And let's start, chat. We start with perfect white, blonde hair, blue-eyed Spider-Man, chat. Chris Pine Spider-Man. He's figured it out. His whole life is ideal. He got bit by, he's like, fuck it. Let's go ahead and tell the origin one more time. I know you're fucking sick of hearing the origin story, except for those fucking weirdos who want to see Uncle Ben die again and again and again and again. But this is the last time. This is the last time I'm going to tell you my origin story. Blonde hair, blue-eyed, perfect white Spider-Man. He goes on about a bit radioactive spider. Uncle Ben, with great power comes great blonde hair responsibility. It's amazing. He did that. He saved the city again, met Mary Jane, fell in love, got married, had a whole bunch of smooches, chat, babies on the way. Perfect. And he also did a really bad dance number in the middle of New York City, but we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it because he also did a Christmas album. He has his own fucking cereal, chat. And of course, chat, he has a popsicle. Not a great popsicle. Not wonderful, but it's not bad. It's not bad. And he is the one and only Spider-Man in the world. There's no one else like him in the universe. He is literally fucking perfect, which I think is awesome. And so he swings in New York City. He's like, yeah, don't you just fucking love me? Wink. And I make him sound like a dick, but he's not. He's actually, no, he's the Spider-Man, the Peter Parker, who is not constantly weighed down by grief and guilt. He maintains his responsibility. He's made every right decision in his life. He is the ideal Spider-Man. And what's just so funny to me is that he dies like in the first, I want to say, 10 minutes of the film. It's like, that's fucking nuts when you think about it. It's like, oh, I figured out, oh God, I'm dead. And he gets crushed by debris and then bludgeoned to death by the Kingpin. It's like, well, shit, this didn't work. I guess you weren't that perfect blonde hair, blue-eyed, white Spider-Man. Thank you, Luke the Boss, for the 3 biddies. And also, thank you, Ducks, for the 2 biddies. Well, what if Ben Reilly was... Yeah, looks like, he does have Ben Reilly's, because Ben Reilly had, blonde hair, blue eyes, and everything. That's true. Darkslayer 2 biddies. I need to retell about how that old man died. He needed to die again, and he died again. Also, fun fact, obviously, Chris Pine voices this version of the character. That goes uncredited in the movie, which is weird. And Cliff Robertson, they used his dialogue. Cliff Robertson, who played the original Uncle Ben in the Raimi trilogy, they use his dialogue from Spider-Man 2, which I think is pretty cool. Just like, oh, look at that. That's nice. But we see his origin again. Whoa, it's not. And what's so funny about this movie is... they retell the origins over and over and over again, but they know that it's like, we know that you're fucking sick of this. Well, except for the weirdos that want to see Uncle Ben die again, because I guess they just like that. But I love that they're like, okay, all right, guys, seriously, this is the last time you're gonna hear this. It's a great running gag throughout the entire movie. But we have Chris Pine, blonde hair, blue-eyed, white Spider-Man. He jumps out in New York City, and I'm the one and only, baby. And he fucking winks at the camera, and then we cut. We then cut to Miles Morales, chat, a black Latino kid who will one day be Spider-Man, but he doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know it, and he's in his room, and he's doing all of his... I love that how they showcase, Miles's, attention and love to art and graffiti and that kind of thing. And he's working on these custom stickers that he's made. He's going to showcase his work across New York City. But his mom and his dad, they're telling him, Miles, are you ready for school yet? Because he kind of goes to this private boarding academy during the weekdays, I guess from like Monday to Thursday with this accelerated learning program because he's not just a great artist yet, he's also smart. He's a smart kid, and he got in the Visionaries New York Academy. And he turns around, he sees all of his fucking dirty clothes and underwear, Chad. It's got skid marks on him. It's like they animated the skid marks, Chad, and his textbooks, which he spent way too much money on, and you're only going to use about 3 times a semester, and it's a fucking racket. Those universities, it's a racket, Chad. It's bullshit. And he's like, shit, I gotta stuff all this in my backpack, and it's too much. His dad's still yelling for him. He walks out the door. Mom's got something in the slow cooker. He's trying to eat it. She looks like some rice and beans or some kind of chili dish. He's trying to eat, and his dad's like, we need to go. You need to get going now. And they go out the door. Mama's just kissing those little baby Miles Morales. She's just mwah, mwah, as you feel the love of this family. You really do truly feel the love. Eventually, he goes down the block, Chad. He's walking, stops by his old school, and the kids are like, Miles, where the hell have you been? He's like, I haven't left the neighborhood, guys. I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing. He have this one girl with pink hair that goes, Miles, we miss you. I miss you. He goes, oh, miss me? What are you talking about? I still live down the street. And he's like, whoa, she misses me. Miles is very awkward around the women's, Chad, around the girls. He's like, oh, God, because he's going through the puberty, as we shall soon find out, Chad. He is going through the puberty. So, he keeps walking down, Chad. He keeps tagging everything, putting up his custom stickies, his custom stickers, but he didn't tie his shoes, Chad. He trips over himself right into the crosswalk, and he's accosted by a cop. Oh, no. But the cop, Chad, is his father, Jefferson Davis, voiced by Brian Tyree Henry, Chad, who you've seen in Atlanta. He was also most recently in The Eternals. I don't know which Eternal he plays. I never saw the movie yet. I don't think I'm going to see it until Disney Plus. It's released on Disney Plus. But he does a great job. He's a great job. Apparently, he initially was going to pass on the role because he thought he was way too young to be like a father in a movie. But then the filmmakers told him, well, you would be the father of the first black Latino Spider-Man. And he's like, oh, shit, yeah, I'll do that movie. That sounds good. So that's when he stick with it, Chad. But he puts Miles, doesn't arrest him, but he puts him in the back of the car, and he's like, I don't want you tagging all these things, seeing that artwork, I always got to remove it. I can't have my son be a delinquent, okay? I can't have him be a criminal like Spider-Man. It's like, Dad, why do you hate Spider-Man? Because he's white, he's blonde hair, and he's blue-eyed, and he thinks he's fucking perfect, and I'm done with it. And he thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants. He zip, zap, zop all over the fucking place, and I can't stand it, Miles. And he's like, oh, Dad, Spider-Man's like real cool. He's like, well, being a cop is cool, Miles. When you think about my job, I'm kind of cool. He's like, you're not cool, Dad. And then he stops at a stoplight, and then all these kids recognize Miles. That Miles in the back of a police car. He's like, Dad, keep going. Use the siren thing. Just go through the red light. And he's like, that's against the law, Miles. But can't you just do it when you put the siren on? He's like, yeah, I could, but not this guy. And everyone's like, ha, Miles, your dad's a police officer. And so then he keeps on driving, Chad. He keeps on driving, pulls up to the curb, and, his dad turns around. And he says, all right, Miles, now got to say goodbye to me. You got to say you love me. And he's like, I'll see you later, Dad. He's like, Miles, you got to say you love me. He leaves, goes up the stairs of the academy, Chad, and then his dad gets in the loudspeakers like, say it. Say that you love me, Miles. And it's actually great. I love this. I think that's so fucking funny. And he's like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, you need to say that you love me because I know that you love me. Everyone's like, you got to say that you love your dad. And he's like, I love you, Dad. He's like, that's a copy. And he drives away. And he goes inside the school and he tries to pull the whole like thing he was doing earlier. Like, hey, everybody, I'm Miles Morales. I'm real cool. I'm slick. Everyone's like, who the fuck is this dweeb? And he gets super self-conscious and his self-confidence is lower. He's like, no, he just becomes like a nerd, Chat. And he goes to class, and he's feeling overwhelmed. He's feeling stressed. It's hard. You go to, first of all, you live there, this new school. You don't know anybody. You're not comfortable. A lot of people don't even think you should be there. It's like, that's kind of shitty. That's not nice. And eventually he goes to he's running late for this next class. Chat walks in there. They're already watching a documentary. We have this Dr. Olivia something. Dr. Olivia O. I'm not sure who she is, Chat, but she's doing, I love that the video for who we eventually find out is Dr. Olivia Octavius, voiced by Catherine Hahn. And she fucking kills it, by the way. We were talking about this on Discord. She does such a great job. And it's that kind of, she balances the humor with the psychotic ness of her character so well. I just love that, how she goes back and forth. They're like, oh, I just love listening to her, and she's like, oh my god, she's horrifying. And I think it's really cool. But you see her like she's doing like a blog while riding her bike. She's very ecological, very eco-conscious, which I think is funny. And you even see when they pause the video, she's kind of like, she's like in mid-turn. Her face looks really weird, which I thought was funny. But he's up there, and the teacher's like, Miles, why are you late? Okay, and he's like, well, in truth, I'm not late because according to Einstein's theory of relativity, time doesn't exist. And then there's this one blonde girl who laughs at him because everyone else is silent. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. It was just so quiet. I couldn't help but laugh. And he goes and sits down next to her. And then we don't know this yet, but this is Gwen Stacy Chav, voiced by Haley Steinfeld. And I love Gwen's design. I just love the way her hair looks. But also there's like little subtlety because each character is asymmetrical to a degree. And you notice with her, it's this cute little feature. She has like this fucked up tooth in the front, like this little chipped tooth. And I kind of like that. I don't know, it's just something about that. I was like, oh, that's that level of detail right there. I think it's cool. And same thing with Olivia Octavius Chad with Doc Ock. Liv, as she's also called, like she has this very thick mane of hair, and it has like yarn and shit, and she is dressed and looks like a typical university professor. And like my old job that I had when I had a day job, she looked exactly like someone I would see every single day. It's like they fucking nailed it. It was Olivia all along, indeed. But they sit down, and he's like, oh, thanks for laughing at my joke. She's like, well, I didn't think it was funny. I just thought, the silence was funny. He goes, oh, okay. And so they start going back and forth, and he's like, hey, my name's Miles, and she's about to say her name, but the teacher's like, ahem, okay, stop with the horny talk, you two, okay? You can bang outside of class. And everyone laughs at them, and, he's like, no, and he feels super self-conscious. And then eventually he's on to his next class, and he gets a 0 out of 100 chat. He failed. And the teacher's like, you know how it's like really statistically impossible for someone to get every single answer wrong in a test unless they were trying to pick the wrong answer? And he goes, yeah. So like, yeah, I know. I knew what you were trying to do. You should have gotten 100 on this test. You're trying to quit, Miles. The fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, I just don't want to be here. She's like, listen. I'm not going to give up on you, okay? So I'm going to assign you a personal essay, okay? What your expectations for yourself based on the material of Great Expectations, the book. So go ahead, write this over the next several days. This will be your test, if you will. So that was cool that the teacher literally says, no, I see potential in you. I know you're trying to quit, and you shouldn't try to quit. So I'm going to throw out the test and have you write a personal. That was a really cool fucking exception that she made, Chad. That was really nice of her. That's really sweet. And so he goes there. He goes in his dorm. Genki's in the movie. He plays his roommate. They cut his role down the film. Apparently, he's going to get an expanded role in the sequels, I assume. I guess part 1 and part 2. But he was supposed to be like a supporting character in this film. He's barely a tertiary character. I don't think he has any dialogue. I think he goes, at one point he faints. Other than that, he's just kind of like the part of the aesthetic, the background, if you will. But he's sitting on his desk, and he can't fucking think of anything to write. He's like, expectations, great expectations. And eventually, he's like, well, you know who I want to go to? I want to go and speak to Uncle Aaron. So he hightails it across the goddamn city, chat. We're introduced to Uncle Aaron Davis. He's somewhat estranged with his brother, Jefferson Davis. Chad, they didn't really talk to each other. Used to be close. Clearly, they once were, because we see Aaron Davis. I love his apartment. I love the use of music. Mahershala Ali does such a great job voicing him, but he has this incredible music setup. I mean, of course, he has the vinyl, but he has all these amps and all this other audio equipment, speakers and things, and he's playing them funky beats, if you will, all them funky beats. And he gets a message where we see on his screensaver, Chad, is him as a young man, and also Jefferson Davis as a young man. And I was like, oh, I thought that was really cool. And he slides it over, and what does he see? He sees himself, Chad, and it says, someone is watching you, or it says, I'm watching you. And there's various little gifts, and there's a little avocado boy that's doing a little dance, and he looks over the window, and it's Miles, who's like, Uncle Aaron, and he goes, and he puts his face against it and makes fart sounds. And you could tell that Aaron loves Miles. Like, listen, Aaron Davis, the Prowler, is a super flawed man. He's a flawed character. But the one thing that the one part of him that is good, I think, is just the love that he has for his nephew. Looks at his nephew almost as a son, really. He comes inside, and and it's also the person I think Miles feels really comfortable around to really express himself, because Miles' dad, Jefferson Davis, he's so rigid, and maybe that's because also the fact that he's a policeman and he doesn't really understand Miles' interests like in art and things. Doesn't understand why he doesn't want to have this opportunity to go to this new academy where Aaron gets it. And so we see like Miles is fooling around with. It's funny because they hint at like all the shit that clearly helps Aaron Davis be the Prowler. He has all this workout equipment like fucking everywhere and all this other high tech stuff. And it's like, oh shit, it's all in the background. It's all there. Miles just never considers it. Like to be a big deal. But he's, working out and stuff, and Uncle Aaron's like making popcorn for them, and he's going on about like, all right, what's going on at that school of yours, nephew, Youngblood? And he's like, oh, nothing. I mean, I just met this girl. He goes, oh, shit, so you really are my nephew. What's her name? He's like, oh, well, we're not really on a first name basis kind of thing. He's like, okay, all right. He sits down, and he goes, well, next time you meet her, all right, you got to do the shoulder touch, man. He's like, the shoulder touch? He goes, yeah, man. I mean, no nephew of mine should not know the shoulder touch. Of course I know the shoulder touch. I mean, but tell me as if I didn't know. And he goes, all right, man. Next time you see that girl, go ahead, put your hand on her shoulder and go, hey. And he's like, just like that, just, hey. He goes, no. Hey. And he's like, hey. So this be a fucking creeper. By the way, awful advice from Uncle Aaron, chat. Awful advice, because it's just really goddamn creepy. And it's like, yeah, you do that next time, Youngblood, and I assure you will get with that girl, this unknown lady. And he sees Miles' notebook, and he sees, like, because he's into his art, and he says, hey, is this some of your artwork, man? And he's like, yeah, it's called Expectations. It incorporates all these different colors and blues and pinks and purples and aqua blues and stuff. And he's like, this is some good stuff, man. And he's, yeah, but my dad doesn't fucking like it. And he's like, listen, I know your dad's a good guy, but you know how he is. He did the cop thing, and well, he's like, yeah. But I like that how both Jefferson Davis talks shit about Aaron behind his back, and Aaron Davis talks shit about Jefferson Davis behind his back, and Miles is kind of caught in the middle of it, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. It's very weird. I mean, but that's so... That is families. That's the dysfunction. And when you have these two people who are obviously very estranged from each other, and they don't want to say too many bad things about the other person because the person that they're talking to either loves them or is a family member. It's like that felt very, very real. I really, really like that. You got to harass her in public, Miles. Exactly. Hey. He says, well, listen, Miles, I know a perfect place where you can put up this graffiti, if you will, this street art. And he's like, you do, Uncle Aaron? He's like, hell yeah, let's go. And so they go across town, down the subway, and there's abandoned subway track, and this abandoned tunnel. And they come to this big old like fence with inside the tunnel that says no trespassing, and Uncle Aaron just does some slick fucking moves, and he's over the fence like that, and he's like, all right, Youngblood, your turn. And fucking Miles, he's got 2 left feet, doesn't tie his goddamn shoes. Tie your shoes, Miles. That's a running gag in the film as well. He never ties his shoes. He climbs over it, although he struggles and he falls over. He's like, I did it. He's like, yep, okay, let's go ahead and put up that art. And so they go down there, Chad, and Miles is like, whoa, this is perfect for you. He's like, how did you know about this place, Uncle Aaron? He's like, well, I'm an assassin for the Kingpin. I mean, I did an engineering job down here. He's like, well, that's really cool. And so he's like, you want to help me put it up? He's like, of course. And so set up this like little bench. He has a boombox with him, puts on a boombox, Chad, playing some tunes. And then we see this fucking weird, multicolored neon spider just come down from the wall. From a crack in the wall has the name Almex on its big old booty spider butt, and it's just observing these two as they're putting up this graffiti, chat. And you get this like little montage. The spider eventually gets onto Miles' foot, and then it crawls up his leg. We're constantly coming back between the graffiti and all of it. It's a wonderful little montage sequence, Chad. It's excellent. until eventually, right before it's about to bite him, like he flicks it off accidentally, where he's like putting up some more of the paint, and then eventually Uncle Aaron comes over and does an outline of him on expectations, and it says no expectations, and Aaron's like, so you don't think it's a little too over the top? And he goes, nah, no, not at all, Miles. I see exactly what you're doing. See exactly what you mean right here. But then he gets a little fucking phone call, a little ring-a-ding-ding from somebody, and he's like, hey, kid, listen, I got a call. We got to bounce right now. Let me take you back home. And he's like, oh, okay, Uncle Aaron. And so right before he leaves, though, Chad, when he's putting all of his stuff back in his backpack and the paint, he sees this little neon spider crawl up. He's like, I'm going to bite you. And it bites him. And we go into this wonderful little 2D segment, and then it becomes 3D, Chad, as the venom circulates through his circulatory system, Chad, his very bloodstream, changing him on a subatomic level. And then we cut back, and he goes... He just hits it and the spider falls down dead. I have done what I was chosen for. And that's it, and he walks away. Eventually, we talk about this, but yes, indeed, Action Maniac. Hope you're doing very well. One of the best films of 2018, right there with you. But eventually, chat, he goes back home, and he goes in his dorm room. And we get this kind of like a montage where Genki's, doing his book report and on the computer and jerking off and stuff. And then Miles, he's like, he's got the tummy, the bubbly guts. And he wakes up, chat, and he's like 5 inches taller, puts on his pants. They're so much shorter now. He's like, oh God, what's happened? I'm going through puberty. Everything's changing. And then as he's walking, like down the hallway, he's in these very ill-fitting pants. His shirts are so small. He's all sweaty, Chad. His dick is always erect. He's like, I don't know what's happening to me. Is this puberty? It's a nightmare. He wants to fuck everything he sees. Oh, it's horrible, Chad. And then who does he fucking bump to in the middle of the hallway? The blonde-haired girl with the chipped tooth. And he's like, oh, it's you. She goes, hey, how you doing? He goes, listen, I didn't think we got to properly introduce ourselves to each other. My name is Miles. I am going through the puberty. And she goes, oh, that's weird. I mean, he's like, well, not like I am going through puberty. I've already gone through puberty, and I am now a man. I love the way he says man. And she's like, oh, cool. My name is Gwanda. He goes, what's your name? He's like, it's Gwanda. It's South Africa. It's African. Well, like South African because there's a lot of white people in South Africa because of the culture appropriation. Anyway, and she just is talking. She's like, she's fucking up just as much as Miles is, which I think is very funny because she's really bad at laying down her cover and also sound like a little racist. She's like, oh shit. But then Miles is like, oh God, she's so pretty. I'm going to do the shoulder touch. Am I really moving in slow motion? And she's like going on and on and on. Eventually just kind of touches her shoulder and she's like, whoa, what are you doing? And he's like, hey. And she's like, hi. Anyway, so I'm just going to get going to my next class. He's like, oh, I understand. And like he takes his hand off of her, but then his hand starts sticking to her hair. And he's like, oh. She's like, ow, dude, just let go of my hair. She's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll do it in a second. Oh, and she's like, dude, what are you doing? And it looks like he's fucking assaulting her in the middle of the fucking school. And he's like, listen. And she's like, what are you doing to me? He's like, listen, I'm just gonna put my hand on your face and rip it off. She's like, don't rip it off. And she's like, they do a somersault. Eventually they go to the nurse where she has to shave her fucking hair off the side of her head and they're still stuck to his fingers. And he goes, so, it was, really nice to meet you. And she goes, yeah. It was a fucking pleasure. And then she leaves. Oh, it's so good. Gwen, why is your hand sticky? He's like, you know why. You know why his hand is sticky, Gwen. You ever seen There's Something About Mary? You know why. Oh, dark side of the Antipodes. If she wasn't Spider-Woman, her skull would have been, he would have just ripped her fucking skin off the side of her face. She wouldn't have been Spider-Woman, chat. She would have been Two-Face. That's what would have happened. But then it's really awkward, and he starts just running in the hallway like, oh, I'm going through the changes. And then he bumps in this one fucking security guard and says, hey, you, Morales, you snuck out last night. That is against the school code. We got to go ahead and write you up. And then Miles is like, you got to play dumb. You got to play dumb. And he's like, who's Morales? Not that dumb. And he just keeps fucking running. The guy's like, hey, I'm gonna write you up a second time. What are you doing? You're running away from me. And eventually he goes in this one office and he's like, oh, fucking shit. It's the security guard's office. He sees all of his pictures and stuff with his dude bros, chat, being security guards. Woo! He's excited. And he's like freaking out, and eventually, he ends up on the ceiling. He's like, holy shit, I'm super fucking sticky. And he's taking off, he doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's taking off his fucking clothes. His clothes are sticking to him. He rips them off. He's naked, Chad. His dick swinging in the air. He's horny. He's like, I don't know what's happening. He hits the laptop. The security guard's laptop starts playing Chris Pine's Christmas Spider-Man album, which is what I think it's like Jingle Bells. I think it's like Jingle Bells, Goblin Smells, Vulture laid an egg, which is like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. And the security, everyone's looking at like the door as all this commotion's happening. The security guard's like, what? It's a good fucking, it's good music, man. It's good music. Eventually, Miles ends up outside of the building and is accosted by a couple of pigeons, and he sticks to the pigeons, and the pigeons are trying to fly away, and they're fucking pecking at him. He's like, He's like, it's just a nightmare, Chad. It's an absolute fucking nightmare. Gwen's walking, like, no one looks up, but Gwen is walking outside, and she sees, like, Miles, like, on the side of the building just screeching as he's being attacked by pigeons. She's like, huh, that's weird. And eventually we cut to like this classroom as they're, reading this book, and Miles is slamming against the window going, ah! They're like, whatever, it's New York, man, it's New York. Eventually he gets back to his dorm. He releases the pigeons after they attack him a little bit more. They scratch his face, oh God, and they fly away. And he just so happens to pick up a comic book that is the origin of Spider-Man, which is weird. So I guess fucking Peter Parker or Spider-Man sold the rights to his origin story for money. He clearly made a lot of fucking money in this reality chat based on certain things we'll see later on. He makes some fucking cash. I know that for a fact. And he sees like, oh my God, he sees in the book where a young nerdy Peter Parker's like, what's going on? Why am I'm going through the changes? Why is my dick so hard? Why am I sticky all the time? And he's like, oh my God, I'm like Spider-Man, but there's only one Spider-Man. He's blonde, blue-eyed, and white. It doesn't make any sense. And he's like, wait a minute, the spider that bit me that night, this is all connected. I need to go back to the subway and find out where that spider came from, chat. So he then leaves, he gets dressed and everything, and he goes back to the subway where he finds the little dead body of the spider, and it's like, well, that's not gonna tell me anything. But he looks immediately to his right, which was always there, and there is a secret super sci-fi subway tunnel. He walks down there, and he sees all this equipment for Almex. Almex is like, what is this company and things? Like all these tarps everywhere and these big old machines. And eventually he goes to this one like glass window wall, but it's all muddy and gross and stuff. He can't see anything. But then he starts getting this tingling sensation. Chad says spider sense kicking in, and boom, we see Spider-Man fighting Norman Osborn. Finish it. Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, but it's not the classic Defoe. I'm in my weird purple-green suit, flying on a Goblin glider. This is more of the ultimate take on the Goblin, where he's this big hulking monster, which I've never been a big fan of. I've never really liked that version of the character. I always kind of thought it was a little boring. And he's British for some reason in this movie. He sounds like this. I'm gonna get you, spoiled. So I guess in this reality, Norman Osborn is British. And he's fighting Chris Pine, Spider-Man, chat. They're going back and forth. They're destroying this entire facility. It opens up more as Miles is trying to run away. And eventually they burst out of this fucking wall as Miles is tumbling down. He manages to grab on and hold on to like this part of the steel paneling with his sticky fingers, chat. While Chris Pine, Spider-Man, he goes down there beating the shit out of Norman, knocks him out. The Goblin falls. He's kind of like, is a little derpy now. But then Miles falls, and right before Spider-Man's about to swing away, he sees Miles and goes, oh shit, a kid! And he dives for him, and he catches him. and he puts him on some scaffolding, and he's like, listen, kid, you should probably take care of yourself. Also, your shoe's untied. He's like, yeah, it's a personal choice. He's like, fair enough. But then they have like a weird mixed spider sense signal, and Chris Pine Spider-Man's like, holy shit, you're like me. That's so cool. Let me be your mentor. I will help you use these powers. He's like, really? He goes, hell yeah, man. I'm Spider-Man, baby. Nothing bad happens to me. But then, chat, we cut because we see this big fucking machine start to turn on, Chad. It's the I don't know what it is. It's the time collider, Chad. It's the time collider. And it's being turned on. Thank you, Blackstone, for the 100 biddies. Greetings, salutations. Is Chris Pine Spider the same race? But I think he's supposed to be. But then you also see that maybe the Peter B. Parker is kind of that Spider-Man too, since they're very, very similar to each other. But I think this is supposed to be the Raimi Spider-Man. Or at least a version as close to it as we've gotten to the Raimi versions in an animated form of Spider-Man. But someone has turned on the big old time collider, chat, and whose is it? It's the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. This is his experiment, and he's in charge of it. Almex is his company. We don't know why he's using this, but he seems adamant about it. And he's like, Prowler, kill that fucking asshole Spider-Man. He's got this big Brooklyn accent. He's like, hey, oh, Spider-Man. And he sends the Prowler after him. And so Peter's like, listen, kid, I'm going to go and save the day. It's what I do. I'm the blonde hair, blue-eyed, white, perfect Spider-Man. So you go ahead and hold on to your ass. He's like, okay, Spider-Man. And he swings up there, but then he has to battle the Prowler who shows up. By the way, the Prowler, his fucking music is so ominous and terrifying. I love it. I love it. I'm Spider-Man. I love being alive. What could go wrong? And so he's battling the Prowler. Goblin comes in. He's derpier though, Chad. You can't really see straight anymore. But he comes in there and he starts grabbing Spider-Man, smash him in the stuff. And it's like, Goblin, we gotta stop meeting like this. He's like, I'm going to kill you, Spider-Man. And he grabs him and he pulls him into the beam of the time hydrogen beam collider thing, and Kingpin's like, Norman, stop it, what the fuck are you doing? And Goblin's like, he's not listening. And then we cut to Spider-Man's face where he's seeing the franchises, chat, the potential franchises. And we get like little cuts of Gwen. We get little cuts of, what is it? Who else do we got, chat? Oh God, I'm trying to remember. Oh God. Who else do we see in this part right here, chat? We see Gwen, we see Peter Porker, we see Spider Noir, we see Peter B. Parker, we see Spider, we see all the franchises, chat, all of the goddamn franchises. Eventually, we cut from that, and boom, big fucking explosion, chat. Like, oh my God, Jesus fucking Christ. It's not good. It's not good at this point. And so then, after that, we cut from that part, and like everything's falling apart. Miles, he's searching through the wreckage, and we see the body. Penny Parker, that's it. Penny Parker. We see the body of the Green Goblin. I think he's dead. I want to say they're heavily implying that he's fucking dead. So there you go, Chad. Green Goblin's dead. And then Spider-Man, he finds the dead body. Oh, Jesus Christ. Of poor Peter Parker, chat. He's not a Spider-Man. He's like, and he goes over, he's like, Spider-Man, are you okay? He's like, never better. Blue-eyed, blonde, and white. And he's like, I don't know how that makes you better, but okay. He's like, well, what do you need me to do? He's like, listen, I need you to take this USB drive I called a goober. Take the goober, put up in the machine with great power, great response. Fuck it. Just do what I tell you, okay? Now run away. Run away and be Spider-Man. Promise me you'll be Spider-Man. He goes, I promise I'll be Spider-Man. There you go. Okay. Oh. And so then he runs away, chap. And then Kingpin, he waddles over with Tombstone and Prowler. And he's like, the fuck, it's going to take so much time to fix all this. And he goes, hey, Spider-Man. He's like, Kingpin, how's business? Booming. He's like, oh, listen, man, you shouldn't be doing this just to make a profit. It's not about the money, Spider-Man. And he's like, all right, fair enough. And he grabs his face and he rips off the mask. He's like, oop, that's a no-no. And he's like, listen. You thought you can defeat me? It ain't gonna fucking happen, all right? I'm gonna get what I want. You ain't gonna stop me. He's like, I saw in there. I peered into the franchises, Wilson. I peered in the franchises, and I see what you're trying to do, and you can't get them back, okay? They're gone. I'm sorry, but they're gone. And it's like, what the hell is he talking about, chat? And Kingpin, he looks away, and he goes, Rah! And he smashes him, Chad. He just smashes him, and Spider-Man, he crushes Spider-Man like a bug, Chad. His intestines just came out of his mouth and ass. Came out of his orifices, Chad. Eyes just shot out, and our blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white Spider-Man is dead, Chad. Not so perfect after all. Miles gets covered in the blood and viscera, Chad, of the perfect Spider-Man. He's like, oh, God. And Kingpin, he hears the squealing, and he looks up, and he sees, like, Miles, and he runs away. And I love his delivery here. He's like, he looks at, he doesn't even stop looking. He just looks, and he goes, kill that guy. And then Prowler fucking goes, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is awesome. So goddamn brutally kills him. But then we get Prowler. He's tracking his prey down. I was like, oh my fucking Jesus Christ, God. He's trying to get out of there as fast as fucking possible, chat, as the Prowler is just right on top of him. A subway car just comes screeching towards them. Miles jumps up on the ceiling. Prowler, he ducks to the side like this. And Miles just keeps on going till he gets out of the subway. Eventually, he's running down the block. Prowler gets on his motorcycle, but Miles hides the last second before the Prowler can get him. He's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Oh my God. Oh God. Just covered in blonde hair and blue eyes, chat, and white skin and blood and viscera. It's horrible. Eventually, he goes back home. He sneaks into his house. Jefferson Davis, his dad, comes. He's like, freeze! And they don't call it the NYPD here, chat. It's a little subtle thing. And this, they call it the PDNY, the Police Department of New York. You see their badges? It's not NYPD. I was like, that's fucking clever. I like that. But he goes there. He's like, Miles, what are you doing here? You should be at school. He's like, fucking Dad, fucking Spider-Man's dead. He's like, what? Spider-Man's not dead. He's not, come on. He's fine. I hate that guy, by the way. Spider-Man sucks. Miles is like, whoa. He's just crying. His mom comes. He's like, honey, it's okay. It's okay. She's like, don't tell him that Spider-Man sucks. He's like, I'm sorry. I just don't like him. I don't fucking like him. I wish he was dead. He's like, oh. And he's like, well, you're going to stay home tonight, Miles. That's fine. He's like, all right. And he goes to bed, and he's there. And then the parents hear on the news that, breaking fucking news, Spider-Man, who is also a 26-year-old grad student named Peter Parker, has been found dead. He exploded. Something hit him really fucking hard. And he's not getting up anytime soon. This is actually very emotional. And it felt very real, where the people of New York are like reacting to this on their phones. They're like, holy fucking shit. Like, they're all stop. It's all over Times Square and things. Miles hears all this, and he's like, I gotta get out of here. I need to leave. It's just so emotionally sad, Chad. It's like, oh my God, it just hits you. It just fucking hits you in the heart. Eventually, Miles leaves, and the whole city is in mourning at this point. There's going to be this huge ceremony, this huge funeral for Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And everyone's getting these Spider-Man masks and costumes, and we get one of the best Stan Lee cameos, where it's the Miles goes to this costume store, he pays for the Spider-Man suit, he's like, can I return if it doesn't fit? And Stan Lee's like, it'll fit eventually. Excelsior! No refunds! Get the fuck out of my store! And Miles is like, okay. And so he leaves, but no, it's that last that cameo, because that was the most recent cameo, I think, after Stan Lee's death. I think, because I think he died before the Into the Spider-Verse came out, and so I think that hit a lot of people really hard. It's a great cameo, Chad, very emotional. I'm gonna miss him. He says, that's what he says. Stan Lee says, I'm gonna miss him. It's like, you're talking about yourself, Stan. Oh God, it was so emotional. And I love that it's like, no refunds. Get the fuck out of my store. And so then we cut to the funeral of Peter Parker where Mary Jane is doing a eulogy. We see Aunt May. She's sad and stuff. And Mary Jane, you know, my husband, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, he was an ordinary schmuck like the rest of you, you know? That's what he was. Darkseid Thing of the Two Days, that's what I like about when Spider-Man is well-liked by New York. Gets all when they hate him despite him helping. More than they harm him, exactly. And so that was really, I got really emotional scene. I got a little water. That was one of the few times in the movie, well, several times in the movie, I should say, where I did get watery-eyed. But he's there, and Mary Jane's like, listen, my Peter Parker, my perfect blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white Spider-Man, you know, he was like a schmuck like the rest of you schlubs. And in each and every single one of you, there's a little bit of Spider-Man. Miles goes, I'm Spider-Man. And the guy goes, I think it was just more like a metaphor, not specifically you. And then we cut because at this point, Miles is like, well, I got to train to be Spider-Man now. And so it's like, I'm going to do the Tobey Maguire thing and try to get on the tallest building and practice jumping and shit. So he goes on a building chat. He looks down. Is like, fuck that. And he goes to a much shorter building. Let's not, instead of 20 stories, let's do like 5 stories. Does 5 stories. But the thing is, he's running. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it. But he trips over his shoelaces, chat. Tie your goddamn shoes, Miles. Trips over it, falls. He falls, boom, falls on his thighs, chat, breaks his legs and everything. But he breaks, more importantly, he breaks the goober. He breaks the goober, chat, which is the only way to truly shut down the collider, the time collider. He's like, oh, God, I fucked up. He's an awful Spider-Man, chat. And he gets up, and he's like, well, I'm just going to go to the grave of Peter Parker and tell him that I can't do it. Goes to the grave, chat, see all this memorabilia and everything. It was a closed casket funeral, by the way. They don't want to look at the fucking mess that was Chris Pine's Spider-Man. It was rough. But he goes to the grave, and he's like, Peter, I'm so sorry about everything. I fucked it up. I broke the goober. I'm no Spider-Man. I'm sorry, Peter, but I can't do it. And then this fat hobo comes behind him and says, hey, can I bum a cigarette? He goes, whoa! And you would fucking freak out too, Chad, if this hobo just gave you the shoulder touch. Miles turns around, fucking electrocutes him. He uses his venom blast, Chad, his venom sting, not a symbiote. He has electricity inside. It's one of his powers. And he shocks this fat hobo. But then he goes over to the hobo and he sees like this fat hobo is wearing a Spider-Man outfit. And he's like, oh my God, he looks just like Peter Parker except schlubbier. And then we cut, chat. We're introduced to Peter B. Parker played by Jake Johnson. And it is amazing. I love his role. Jake Johnson will forever be typecast as the schlubby best friend for his entire life. He's fucking great at it. Back in the day, he could do a middle-aged Spider-Man. If they ever want to do that era, cast him as a middle-aged kind of schlubby Spider-Man, which I know they did, but like live action too. But he could have done back in the day, played like a Peter Parker. If he was like a teenager in his 20s, he would have fucking sweatpants Spider-Man, fat, dad bod Spider-Man, Chad. I love him. Personally, man, I can fit 25 minutes. Like how Peter B. Parker dresses like I do all the time. It's what we all dress like. And he's like, all right. And we see like his comic book cover where, you know, previously Chris Pine Spider-Man is like, oh, it's super cool and it's ideal. He's web swinging and he hits himself in the fucking face. And it's the complete opposite of Chris Pine Spider-Man, where Chris Pine was Spider-Man, I think, for, 10 years? This Peter B. Parker has been Spider-Man for 22 years. He saved the city again, saved it probably too many times, made some poor investments in a spider-themed restaurant, broke his back, got hit in the head of a fucking drone, had to bury Aunt May, broke up with his wife, and it's just like the saddest thing ever. But he's like, despite, you know, fucking breakup of my, I'm a fucking champ. I picked myself up and I did the thing that every Spider-Man should do. And we just cut to him in the full Spider-Man suit with stuffing his fat face with pizza while the hot water is just coming down on him, chat. He is so sad. He's so sad. And he's like, I tried my best. And I think MJ wanted kids. And I fucking freaked out because I wasn't ready for kids, and I think I broke her heart. And then one day I was laying in bed Or no, he says, no, one day I was, psyching myself up, doing crunches, getting swole, and he said this fat gut just hangs out as he's stuffing himself with more pizza. But then all of a sudden, this fucking weird thing happened to me. And that's, me saying that's weird because that's unusual because a lot of weird shit happens to me. And then he's sucked into a fucking portal, chat. Grabs parts of his costume, grabs his mask, goes across the universe of franchises and is pooped out in Miles Morales' universe, chat. Hit like he's bouncing all across, and we see like other little beams of light shooting out too. But he's bouncing fucking everywhere, hits a fucking sign, chat, and he's like his fucking spider pants are gone completely, like his spider tights are gone, so he's just shirt cocking it. It's just like a fat, dirty hobo Spider-Man with his dick out. That's what pretty much this is. And he's like, all of a sudden I saw me, except I was dead and blonde. And I was like, oh shit. And we see that he was watching the very successful Peter Parker's funeral. He's like, fuck you, Perfect Spider-Man. I might be a schlub and fat, but at least I'm still alive. Oh, God, I'm so jealous. Because the rest of the movie, that Peter Parker just wants to die, which is kind of dark. He's like, he's like adamant, like, I will sacrifice myself. He is so overcome with guilt and depression. He's like, I'd rather stay behind and die than go back to my reality, which is really sad when you think about it in hindsight, chat. And that's when I came and saw this little scrawny kid, and after that, I don't know what the fuck happened. And then we cut back to present day. Miles is checking this fat hobo man, but then the police are like, hey, don't mess with Peter Parker's grave. He was great. And he's like, oh! And Miles grabs Peter B. Parker, and he runs across the city, swing across it. I mean, he doesn't know how to web swing at all, Chad. It's not great. And he activates Peter B. Parker's web shooters, connects to a train car, and it's pretty much just Miles riding Peter B. Parker in a non-sexual way, and just him slamming into shit, hitting cars, hitting concrete, hitting a snowman where his fucking face is being frozen, chat. Like, cryogenically frozen, hits the side of a fucking car, and is literally just sliding across it slowly until he's finally flown off. And eventually they stop on a flagpole, fall down, and Peter Parker's like, what the fuck? And then, boom, something else hits him in the head. He gets knocked out. He should not be severely concussed. It's great. It's wonderful physical humor throughout this entire sequence, Shed. It's so well done. I think one that you hear on one of the cops' radios is like, it seems to be a young man swinging with a corpse, with the corpse of a hobo, which I think is hilarious. Eventually we cut, and Peter B. Parker comes to, and he's tied up to a punching bag. He's like, he's trying to escape, chat, but Spider-Man's got like all these cords and ropes around him, and he can't free himself. And it's like, oh my God. And Miles is like, who are you? He's like, I'm Peter Parker. Are you some kind of mutant, some kind of clone? He's like, no. Are you some kind of interdimensional Spider-Man where you came from a different dimension, but now you're trapped in our dimension, and you're trying to get home? He's like, that was super specific. He's like, hey man, I'm fucking studying, dimensions and shit in school. He's like, yeah, quantum theory, I know. Thank you, person to the minis. How many villains are in Counting Goblin? Kingpin had 5 villains under him. Some sort of, I suppose so. I mean, they're not the focus. Like the main villains of the movie, because Scorpion's in there too. Prowler, obviously. The main villains, I would say, of the movie are Kingpin, Prowler, and Doc Ock. Like, they're the 3 main ones. They get the most speaking lines. They have the most interaction with the characters. The rest are physical threats. Goblin's a physical threat. Tombstone's a physical threat. Scorpion's a physical threat. The other 3 actually have character to them. The other ones are just kind of glorified cameos, if you will. But it's still fun to have them there. Still cool to see different versions of them. But he's interrogating him, and he's like, well, you can't be the Peter Parker of my reality, obviously, because he was blonde hair, blue-eyed, and white, and he wasn't a fat fuck like you. And he's like, you know what? Stop calling me fat, please. Everyone's been doing that, and it's a running gag in the movie. And he says, listen, you've been spending so much time looking at me here while you should have been watching The Hands, kid. And he freed himself, and he fucking just punches Miles in the face, which is amazing. Bloody Friend Major. If he gave a prize for being mean, the winner would be him. Thank you, Bloody Friend Major, for rescribing 21 months, nearly 2 years, 3 months away from 2 years, and on an 18-month streak. Thank you. And a tier 2 sub as well. Thank you, Bloody Friend Major. Hope you're doing very well today. Currently in the middle of my review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's been a fun review so far. But he should have been fucking watching the hands, man, and not looking at my eyes and mouth. And he fucking decks Miles. And he's just leaving. He's like, I'm getting out of here. And Miles is like, wait. I'm sorry for kidnapping you and calling you fat. But listen, the Spider-Man that died, he asked me to shut off the collider machine, okay? Preventing this from happening, all right? And he's like, I don't care. Like, literally, Peter's like, I don't give a fuck what he did, all right? I'm trying to get home. But he gave me this thing. And Peter sees, he webs it and he takes it from him. He's like, hey, no, get that back. He's like, oh, fucking goober. He's like, a what? It's like, off switch, key, whatever. I call it a goober, man. It could be anything. And it's like, great. What the fuck do you do? Because he notices it's broken. And he's like, it was broken when I found it. He's like, yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to have to go to the place that made this. Allmex, he said, all right, great, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get this fixed. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. But Miles is like, wait a minute, please. You don't understand. The experiments that Kingpin is doing, it's harming the city. I mean, potentially, millions of people could die, could destroy my entire universe. And Peter B. Parker's like, I don't fucking care. I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I'm not going to do this, all right? And he's like, please, Spider-Man, please. And he's like, I'm walking away. Don't even do it. But that's great power, great response. He's like, don't even finish it. Don't you dare. Don't make me feel guilty. And then Miles, like, they're having this back and forth, like, and they're walking up the walls and stuff. It's really cool. This one guy is, like, sipping coffee while he's watching them going back. He's like, whoa, this is amazing. And they're both with their masks off. But, Peter, he goes over the ledge, and Miles just sitting on the wall like this. And Peter looks over, he goes, what are you doing? He's like, I'm sitting like this to make you feel guilty. He's like, it's not working. You can't do it. He goes, okay, I'm just going to keep sitting here until you agree to help me. And Peter's like, not going to work. Fuck. And he goes like, all right, I'll help you. But first things first. And we cut to a burger joint where Peter B. Parker is just stuffing himself with cheeseburgers and he's like, oh, it's so good. I like this. I'm so happy this place is still open, your dimension. Mine it closed, and they had the best fucking burgers. A lot of health code violations, but that's a good burger. And Peter's like, you're a bad mentor. He's like, yeah, but I'm the only one you got since the other one's fucking dead. And Miles is like, okay, well, what's the situation? How are we gonna get? Are we gonna web swing to Allmex? I mean, it's in upstate New York. And he goes, Peter's like, fucking web swing. And then we cut. And it's them riding a bus. And Miles is like, this is lame. He's like, yeah, but I don't want to fucking web swing in upstate New York in the middle of winter. All right, I am barefoot right now, okay? My ass cheeks are cold and they're jiggling and I don't like it. And so eventually they stop and they see the Allmex facility. And, he's limp, you get to see Peter B. Parker. He's all right. First, we got to limber up. You got to do the stretches and everything. It's like, and you just hear all his fucking bones cracking because he's so old and fat. And Miles is like, okay, cool. So what's the plan? He's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. It's like a 5-step plan. Step 1, infiltrate. Step 2, find the head scientist. Find out who he is. And Miles is like, oh, actually, the head scientist is this lady who is actually, we watched a video on her. And Peter's like, okay, step 3, examine my own internal biases. Step 4, woo her. Step 3, obviously, do the sex. Step 6, get the files, and then step 7, grab the hard drive, and then step 8, get the bagel and get the fuck out of there. That's the plan. And Miles is like, cool, what can I do? You stay here, okay? And he's like, but that's not really what I need to do. I need to be doing Spider-Man things. He's like, don't worry, kid, you'll have plenty of opportunities to do Spider-Man things. Peter and Miles is like, God damn it, Spider-Man. Then Peter, he swings in there, infiltrates the facility. We see Kingpin. He's arrived as well. Miles is like, oh shit, Kingpin's here. He's an absolute fucking unit. I gotta tell Peter B. Parker about that. So Miles eventually gets in there, goes through a ventilation shaft where he bumps into Peter B. Parker's thick ass. And he's like, what are you doing touching my butt? And he's like, I'm sorry, it's dark in here. And he's like, all right, well, here, I already found the doctor lady, okay? And then Kingpin are having a back and forth. And he's like, and Peter B. Parker's just like, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, what are you doing? He's like, this is typical villain, monologue, back and forth shit. Like right now, he's going to tell her that she only has 24 hours to fix the machine. And then we cut to Kingpin going like, I'm giving you 24 hours to fix the machine. He's like, I told you, okay? I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm so tired. Eventually, Kingpin and Olivia, they leave the room. Peter, he jumps down and he starts hacking into the machine, trying to put in passwords and stuff. Miles, he tries to jump down, but he's stuck to the lights. And Peter's like, what are you doing, buddy? What's going on? He's like, I can't unstick, just relax. He's like, I can't fucking relax, I'm nervous, and my dick is hard for some reason. It happens, man. Just do whatever makes you relax, Miles. Do whatever makes you relax. And then Miles starts going, and he starts singing like the Post Malone song, doesn't know any of the fucking lyrics for, and Peter's like, oh my God. And it becomes the meme of Spider-Man in front of the desk, in front of the computer, which is so funny. Eventually, Miles, he fucking drops. Peter comes over to him, makes sure, he's like, okay, listen, she's Dr. Olivia, she's coming in just a second. You put in the password, okay? Oh, that's his thing. He goes over because he goes to check on Miles, and Miles is just fucking invisible at this point. And he's like, where the fuck are you? He said, what are you talking about? I'm right in front of you. And he like pokes him in the eyes. He's like, oh shit. Well, that's fucking cool. You got bioluminescence. That's a little neat thing. I could have used that in the 22 years I was Spider-Man. He goes, listen. She's going to come in here, all right? You go ahead and put in the code, and he sends this fucking long code like it's WTXZ7822, 3 money symbols, and then 35. You got that? He's like, no. He goes, all right, go at it, man. He's like, what are you going to do? I'm going to lay on that Spider-Man charm. And then he puts the mask back on. Olivia comes back in. She's like, oh, my God, Spider-Man. And he has, like, his fat gut hanging out. He's like, how you doing, baby? She's like, this is impossible. I thought you were dead. He's like, oh, go through some changes. She's like, you must be another Spider-Man from a different dimension. My Lord, this is incredible. And she like lifts up his mask. She's like, oh, that's a big no. We don't do that. And she goes, oh, interesting. Looks like you have some kind of interdimensional warping going on. You have a gut. And he goes, yeah, I warp pretty hard. Just working on that. I'll settle down. She says, great. And she pushes him into a chair and straps him in. And she's like, I'm sure you've been glitching recently, right? And he goes, no, glitching, no. And he goes, because he is glitching. That's the thing. I was mentioned earlier. The longer he stays in this reality, the more his molecular structure starts to destroy itself, start to just come apart, chat. And so occasionally he'll start going, meh. He'll start glitching a little bit. And we saw that earlier. So the longer he's here, the more potential for death for him and other potential spider people. It's bad. And while Miles is like trying to put the password in, gets the password in there, but then the whole fucking desktop, it's all completely unorganized. Looks like my desktop. He's like, Jesus Christ, lady, organize your desktop. She's not that kind of person. And then she's like, I'm just going to grab the fucking PC and the screen. And Peter's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just going to take it. So we can look for it later. And then Octavia's like, well, listen, Spider-Man, what's about to happen to you is going to be extremely painful. He goes, oh, yeah? Yeah, really? Yeah? She goes, yeah. And I am going to enjoy every second of it. And he's like, oh, and Miles is like, what the fuck, lady? And Peter starts going, your friends don't happen to call you Doc Ock, do they? She goes, no, my friends call me Liv. And then she like reveals herself, chat, and her tentacles. She's wearing this suit, but it's like this eco-friendly Doc Ock suit where it's these inflatable tentacles. She goes, my enemies call me Doc Ock. What a cool reveal. And Catherine Hahn kills it. And we get this great fight sequence. And she's throwing around Peter B. Parker, this entire facility at this point. Miles is just fucking panicking, running with the screen and the computer chat. Just like, oh, fucking shit. And eventually Peter B. Parker's like, okay, I'm going to tell you the good news. We don't need the fucking screen. We can get rid of that, all right? We just need this. And it's like, on the way out, I'm going to grab me a bagel. But as they're like, jumping around and Doc Ock is still coming for them, they knock over a scientist. And it was Gwen. Gwen Stacy's there, chat. What's Gwen doing there? Is she infiltrating this place as well? We shall soon see. But eventually, they lose Doc Ock for a minute, chat. Some of the doors shut down, security systems shut down, and they walk into the lunch area with all these scientists are there, and Peter's like, oh, shit, okay, so we're just going to be really subtle about this. Miles is like, I'm really scared. And he's like, all right, we're not going to be subtle. That's okay. I'm just going to be grabbing a bagel. Nice. And as they're slowly walking, people are like, is that fucking Spider-Man? And it's like, indeed I am. Oh, you guys, you did great work. Fantastic work. You know what? It'll come back in a bit. They're like, it's Spider-Man. And they turn their briefcases and the guns and they start shooting at him and they fucking just run out the fucking door. Fucking Peter throws Miles the bagel. Here's the fucking bagel. He's like, I don't want this. And he throws it, hits some guy in the head and says, bagel, which is very funny. And he's like, hey, you ever done any web swing? He's like, no. He's like, perfect. Now's the time to do it. And he gives him a web slinger, and he just fucking yeets Miles off of the edge of the fucking building. He's like, ah! Just screaming. And he's like, don't worry, Miles, I got you. We're going to work together. He's like, you got to swing. You got to tap. You got to go ahead, tap it twice. Swing, man. Pull yourself in. And Miles is being shot at. It's terrifying. Doc Ock is right behind him. And fucking Peter B. Parker's just like, don't worry, man. Listen, nothing's more of a motivator than sheer shock and terror. You're gonna do great. Nothing wrong with a little bit of pressure. And Miles just panicking the entire fucking time. That's what he says. He took a bagel. But they're swinging. Eventually, Peter B. Parker, he stops a Doc Ock for a little bit, kind of incapacitates her, swings back to Miles. He's like, okay, let's fucking swing in unison. He's got it down. They're practicing. And he's like, oh, fuck, we're doing it, man. It's like, we're doing it, Miles. We're doing it. It's like, I'm the wise master, and you're who still has it. And you're the young student who does it like me, but just not nearly as good. And Miles is like, hey, man, you're like pretty cool. He goes, you're pretty cool, too. And then, boom, then right before they're about to get out of there, Peter B. Parker goes, no. He gets a little bit of the glitching chat, and he fucking falls, drops the PC, and Miles, he grabs on the Peter. He tries to web the PC, but oh no. Misses it the last second, but then it's webbed towards them, and it's like someone else's web comes out of nowhere, grabs it, throws it up to them. They grab it and go like, what the fuck? And they're all tangled up in someone's web, and we see chat, Spider-Woman swings in to then battle Doc Ock. Chat kicks her ass, sends her fucking flying, and they're like, holy fucking shit, who the hell are you? And she goes, hi, I'm Gwen Stacy. I'm Spider-Woman. Well, the other Spider-Man from another dimension. There's a lot of us, okay? There's a lot of us. And they're like, oh my God. Miles is like, you're so fucking hot. Gwanda? That's what he says. Gwanda? She goes, my name is actually Gwen Stacy. Eventually, we cut back to Kingpin, he has like this little thing that he's doing, that he's clicking this pen constantly like this. And we see the flashback with him, like, why is he doing this time collider experiment? And we see that he got into a battle with the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Chris Pine Spider-Man chat. And I guess Vanessa and Richard Fisk, his wife and son, respectively, did not know he was running a criminal empire. And they're like, oh my God, Wilson, how could you? He's like, Vanessa, please, Vanessa. You also see, like, when Richard was born and everything, I loved his family. And they fucking get out of there. They get into a car, they're driving down the road, and bam, they get hit by a semi-chat. They explode. And so now he is greenlighting an experiment using his various funds and legitimate businesses to create a collider that will then pick out a family from a different dimension, which he will then kidnap and make his own. And he's like really mad about it, and he breaks the pen like that. Tombstone's his bodyguard. Eventually, Octavia, she comes back, and Kingpin's like, I thought we killed Spider-Man. I killed him with my bare hands. And now I see that we have two. And Octavia's like, actually, we happen to have three. And she like eyes Tombstone. Tombstone pulls out his guns. It's like, oh shit, it's gonna be a confrontation between Doc Ock and Kingpin. But she grabs Tombstone. I will give Tombstone this. He doesn't fucking go like clawing his throat. He still has the guns on her. He's being choked to death. All right. And Kingpin's like, listen, 24 fucking hours. All right. This collider experiment's got to happen. My collider needs to work to get my family. She's like, yes, our collider needs to work. And he's like, good. Get me those spider fucks. And so they separate. Eventually, we cut back to Miles and Peter and Gwen. Miles and Gwen are just flirting. They're so cute together. Check, they're so adorable as they're going back and forth. And Miles is like, so we infiltrated the facility because Peter, the fat hobo Spider-Man, he broke the goober. And so he kind of feels bad about it at this point. Don't mention that I told you this. And she's like, oh, no problem. But I love their little interaction and the thing is, they're very subtle about it. It's not like, okay, now they're going to start kissing. Like, the romance takes time. It's a slow burn. And obviously, they're going to lean in heavy to that in the next film, the one after that, part 1 and part 2 of Enter the Spider-Verse. But I really do like this interaction between them. It's super adorable. And, she basically apologized for, like, I'm sorry for lying to you about everything. And when we see her origin story, which is awesome, chat, and we cut where it's like, oh, okay, this is the last time we're going to do it. We're not going to do this again. And we see where it's like, I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for the last 2 years, I have been the one and only Spider Woman. I joined a band. I saved my dad, who's Captain Stacy, of course, chat, and I couldn't save my best friend, Peter Parker, who becomes the Lizard in her reality, chat. And after her best friend died, she kind of retreated from public life. She's not social anymore. She's fully Spider-Woman, but she has no semblance of a personal life whatsoever. And she's just very lonely. And we see that then one day when she was battling the Doc Ock of her dimension, she's sucked into a portal and then sent into Miles Morales' world, chat. Well, I love it how she's a little more, I love her design. I just love the black and the pink and the, she also has, she wears ballet shoes, too, which I think is a really cool, subtle detail. She has these ballet shoes on when she's swinging around in costume. And when she arrives, she's a little more graceful than Peter B. Parker. She falls on her ass, though. She's like, ow, my butt. But she gets up. She's like, I don't know what the hell happened, but it must be connected to, that collider thing. But then we get, like, the one bad piece of dialogue. It's not even her fault, but it's just weird. And she's like, and my spider sense told me that I need to go to Visionary Academy in New York. It's like, sure it did. Sure it did. But very faithful to comics. Very faithful to comics. Yeah, she mentioned she have dancer. Oh, is that true? Nice. I love that. I love that little just feature about her ballet feet. And then she's like, and now I'm here. And Miles is like, oh my God, you're so hot. But he's like, what are we going to do now? And she's like, well, I think we got to go. The only other person we can go to who could potentially have the technology to help us create a new booper and hack into this PC is Peter Parker. But he's dead, chat. So they got to go to Aunt May's house. Except this is going to be a rough one. Because Peter B. Parker, he buried his Aunt May. Aunt May's been dead for a while. So they arrive in Queens. He rings the doorbell. And he's like, oh, shit, man. Gwen's like, you going to be okay? He goes, nope, I'm not. And then Aunt May opens the door, and she's like, listen, I appreciate you stopping by, of course, but we're not in the mood for any visitors right now. But then she sees Fat Hobo Spider-Man. She goes, Peter? Peter, it's you. He goes, hi, Aunt May. She's like, Peter, you look so tired, Peter. And thicker. You've been eating too many wheat cakes and sausages, Peter. I know, the Jimmy Deans. You've always fed me Jimmy Deans. She's like, oh my God, you're my son, Peter. And he goes, listen, I'm a Peter Parker from a different dimension. And Gwen's like, I'm another spider person from another dimension. And she's like, what about you, young man? And he's like, I'm from Brooklyn. She goes, oh, well, you have to meet the other spider people. And they're like, the other ones? And so she's like, let me show you. And so they go into the backyard, chat, in a little woodshed, and Peter B. Parker's like, hell yeah, that's, yeah, I see what he did. He keeps all of his spider gear back there. I had a little fucking, utility closet for all my stuff, and she inputs the code, and it opens up this fucking beam of light. It's all sci-fi. It's a super futuristic elevator, and Gwen's like, so you had the same thing? He goes, I mean, well, not like that. I mean, it was homier. That was what I'm saying. And they all step inside, and it goes down like fucking miles or whatever. And it's the spider. It's like the Batcave, Chad. But it's the spider cave. We see the Spider-Mobile. We see the Spider Cycle. We see all the spider costumes which you can wear. In the Spider-Man 2018 video game, you actually see this 2018 suit with the big old white spider. And that makes like, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Spider Cave. And they're like, whoa, this is so cool, Aunt May. And Peter B. Parker's like, I mean, it's a little fucking over the top, but whatever. Dog's like, God damn it, stop that. She doesn't sound like Rosemary. Yes, she does. She does, Peter. I'm going to do the same voice for Marissa Tomei, so buckle up, Buttercup. Wait until tomorrow. Young, hot Aunt May, she's going to sound just like Rosemary Harris. She's like, I want you three to meet the other people that are here, you're going to need name tags. And they're like, what? And they look up, chat. We're introduced to the other three Spider people. We have Spider Noir, who's a monochromatic looking Spider-Man, like is set in the 1930s, voiced by Nicolas Cage. He's like, how you doing there? And then we see Spider or Penny Parker, chat, an anime spider person who's all arigato, konnichiwa. And then we have Peter Porker, chat, Spider-Ham, who was bitten by a radioactive pig and he became Spider-Ham. It was amazing. And then they go through all their various origins. It's like, okay, everyone, this is the last time. So Spider Noir, he was bitten by a radioactive spider. His uncle Benjamin, he died, chat, and he's been fighting against the forces of evil. I love punching Nazis, and I love me a good A-cream, and sometimes I just like to feel a match burn my fingertips so I can feel something. Oh, and then we have Penny Parker, chat, who lives in the 31st century. Her dad built her a cool spider suit, and she has a psychic bond with a radioactive spider, chat. But then the dad died due to anime violence, and she lives out her life protecting the people of the 31st century. And then we have Spider-Ham, who I already said, chat, he was a spider, and he's bitten by a radioactive pig, and he works for the Daily Beagle, trying to get hot scoops. He's cannibalizing. He eats his own species, chat. He constantly eats other pigs. He's a fucking menace. He needs to be stopped. And that, my friends, is the three other spider people, chat. Valkyrie, think of the 4 Bs. I always love that they turn that man to Alfred. It's something more. And they should consider doing it. I like it. I really like it. They give her a lot to do in this. She's not just some, I don't know what's going on, Peter. No, I like that they make her like, I know what I'm doing. Grain sounding him. Yeah, grain. Very much so. It's like if you combine Rosemary Harris and Crane, and that's my Aunt May voice. Very accurate, very accurate. But then they're like, this is so... I love how, for whatever reason, Spider Noir, there's always a breeze. It's like, where's that fucking breeze coming from? What the fuck is going on? It's so weird. It's this constant wind or whatever. And I love that for, like, Penny Parker. Her lip sync is just a little off. And it's like, oh, it's like a dub. It's like an anime dub. It's like, oh, that's so, like an English dub. That's like, oh, that's so fucking funny. I didn't notice that because I was looking, it's like, wait, here's lips. It's like, oh, it's on purpose. I thought that was so great. But everyone does a great job. As I said, Nicolas Cage is they don't get a lot of screen time, but they're really funny. Nicolas Cage as Spider Noir kills it. John Mulaney as Spider-Ham kills it. And Kimiko Glenn, great job as Penny Parker. Love what they do with them. They're so interesting. They're differing power sets, how they talk, the cadence at which they talk. Like Spider-Ham walks up. He's like, Peter B. Parker says, it can't get weirder than this. He's like, it can get weirder. And his hands are just wet. He's like, I wash my hands. There's nothing wrong with that. And he's like, oh, my God. So the top Spider Pig is Spider that got bitten by a pig. Yep. As they say in the origin, it's weird, right? A radioactive pig bit him. And that's why he feels no remorse for eating sausages and hot dogs, which he does liberally throughout the entire fucking trailer or movie. Eventually, because then Peter B. Parker introduces himself and Gwen Stacy introduces himself. And they're like, I was going to see you. What about this kid right here? Yeah, this one, the dark one. And they're like, oh, this is Miles Morales. And he's got like really cool powers. And Peter Parker's like, show your Venom stain because I can't do it. He can't do it on the command. We'll turn invisible for us, Miles. And he goes, I can't do it. He's like, okay, he can't do that command either. And he's like, well, listen, guys, I do want to help you so I can save my universe and honor Peter Parker who died. And they're like, Miles, listen, you're kind of shitty. You're not really good at being Spider-Man. He's like, but I can try really hard. And they each are like, okay, can you fight Nazis? He's like, I don't think so. And he fucking Nicolas Cage punches him in the face. He's like, oh. And then Penny Parker's like, can you hack into a secure 31st century computer system? He's like, we don't live in the 31st century. And then she punches him in the face. And then Peter Parker's like, can you summon Acme-esque Warner Brothers Looney Tunes-esque contraptions like a giant mallet or anvil from your pockets? He's like, no, and punches him in the face. And then Gwen Stacy goes up there and she's like, listen, I think you're really cute, but boom, and she punches him too. You gotta be a Spider-Man. He's like, I don't know how to do it. And he struggles, Chad. He can't fucking do it. And the Spider people, they talk to Peter B. Parker and they're like, listen, man, this kid's just not ready. He's just not ready. And Peter Parker's like, I know, but he's got a lot of spunk, you know. He can do it. He's got a lot of potential. And then we always see Miles like in the elevator going up, and they're like, oh, Miles, come back, Miles. Anyway, he just leaves. And he's just feeling super fucking sorry for himself. His dad's calling him. He's like, Miles, where the fuck have you been? You have been at school for like 2 days. What's going on? Call us. Call me or call your mom. We cut to Jefferson. We cut to Mrs. Davis, or Mrs. Morales, I should say. And the mom's like, he's not answering me either. And then he's like, fuck. And he calls his brother, Aaron. He's like, listen, you know, I wouldn't be calling unless this was super serious. Miles, he has a soft spot for you. He really looks up to you. And we don't know where he is. We don't know what he's been doing. We just want to know if you've heard from him. It's like, we would really appreciate you can call us back, Aaron. All right, bye. Thank you. And we see that Miles is heading to his uncle's apartment, Chad. He goes up there, opens the window, but clearly his uncle's gone. He starts writing him a letter, basically saying, like, Uncle Aaron, I'm just I got to do something really important, but I'm really scared and I don't know what to do. I just need your help. I need someone to talk to. And then he sees by the fire escape, looks like his Uncle Aaron's come home, and he's like, oh, cool. But then he sees that, oh, it's not Uncle Aaron, it's the fucking Prowler. And he panics, and he hides behind the big screen TV as the Prowler comes in there. And again, the Prowler's theme, that, it's just so creepy and ominous and stuff. He comes in there, and he has, like, this super, like, he's got like predator vision, like different modes of predator vision. And he's looking around his apartment because he's like, okay, someone's in here. I'm sensing something. He's stepping around and stuff. And eventually, you know, Miles freaks out and he looks behind the TV, but he doesn't see anyone. That's why Miles, his invisibility activated. And he's like, huh. And eventually he hears a little ring-a-ding-ding on his comm device. And he answers it and he goes, yeah, Fizz, don't worry. You know I always complete a job. And he takes off the mask, and who's the Prowler, chat? Aaron Davis. Uncle Aaron. Fucking Miles is like, this is the last thing he needs right now, is to find out that not only is his uncle a supervillain, an assassin for the Kingpin, but also one of the murderers of Spider-Man, Chad. He's like, oh my fucking God. And he runs out the window, and fucking Prowler's like, I think I heard a bitch crying, and he runs out the window too, and he sees Miles. He turns on to his heat vision, and then he sees him. And he's like, you! And he chases after him. And we get an amazing fucking chase sequence here where Miles is trying to parkour and web swing, but the Prowler's on this motorcycle. Oh, it's a wonderful fucking segment. They cut to like the 2D comic panels during this. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Basically what happens is both of them cause a fucking car wreck. Just a giant mosh pit of cars going in different directions, crashing each other. Destroys the Prowler's motorcycle. Miles, he keeps fucking running, keeps swinging away, while the Prowler watches him from the top. He's like, okay, clearly tracking him at this point. Aunt May, can you help me set up a date so I can get fucking laid, Peter? Oh, don't you worry. Peter, I'm horny, Peter, and I still got it. We actually cut back to the other spider people, and they're in Aunt May's house, and she's providing them with tea, and they fixed the booper. Penny Parker has fixed the booper. She put her little spider stamp on. It's like, great, so we're going to infiltrate the Kingpin's compound, because that's where they're keeping the collider down there, and everyone's like, well, what about Miles? And they're like, listen, Peter, Miles is kind of a fuck up. Like, we can't have him do this. He'll mess it all up. He's like, all right. And then Miles, I love it too, because like Peter Porker is like drinking tea and he's about to put it on the table, but then Aunt May comes in with a coaster like right at the last second. I just love those little small details. She's like, Eventually Miles, he bursts in. He's like, fucking guys, like my uncle is the Prowler and he's trying to kill me and I'm really sad. And he's like, whoa, slow down, kid. Your dad's your uncle's the Prowler. He goes, yeah. And he's like, did he track you? Were you followed? And he goes, oh, and then boom, we know they hear a knock on the door, and then boom, and who is it, chat? Like Octavia. Goddamn Liv Octavius, chat. She walks in and she goes, oh, hello, man. She's like, oh, hello, Liv. And so it is confirmed in this world that Aunt May and Dr. Octopus, chat, they fucked hard, which they did in the original comics, chat. Aunt May and Doc Ock have hooked up on a number of occasions, and I imagine this Aunt May and this Liv Octavius have also hooked up and had the hot gilf sex. So that's pretty cool, chat. That's pretty cool. And we got other villains that join her. We got Tombstone. We have a mechanized, dickless Scorpion, chat. I imagine he's mad because he has no dick. He's got Darth Maul spider legs, and he speaks in Spanish. He speaks in Spanish. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I assume it was something. But they're all in there, and a big old fucking kerfuffle starts, a big old fight. Aunt May's pissed because she's like, no, please, you're destroying my house. And she's like, fuck it. Then she gets a baseball bat, and she starts just wailing on Tombstone. She's like, I told you to take it outside. And they're all fighting. Eventually, the Prowler shows up. And he's going after Miles because he sees that Miles has the booper. And like, no, we need the booper. It's the only way we can destroy the collider. And Peter B. Parker's like, get out of here, Miles, get out of here. But then Miles is trying to escape, but the Prowler's just on his ass constantly. They fight in the kitchen, shoves him into the wall. He's like, listen, kid, just give me the fucking thing. We can end it right here. Don't worry about it. He's like, no. And he runs away. Eventually, they end up on the rooftop. The second story house. Miles is like, whoa, 2 stories, oh no. And the Prowler comes behind him and grabs him and is hanging him off the side of the building. He's like, and he's like, and he can't even see it. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Give me the booper. And then Miles takes off his mask, and then we see the Prowler's expression just change. He goes, Miles? Oh, God. No, it wasn't supposed to be this way. And he takes off his own mask, and he's just looking at him. He's like, I don't know what to do. And then we hear Kingpin. Kingpin's outside in the car going, Prowler, fucking kill him. I don't care. And Prowler's like, and he puts the Miles' Spider-Man mask back on. It's like, oh shit, he's like, I have to put the mask back on. No, go to sleep. Like, gonna kill him, but he's like, no, he backs up and he puts him back on the roof, and then boom, we cut chat to Kingpin with a big old fucking Glock. And he just shot Aaron Davis in the back. Aaron's like, the Prowler's falling off the roof. Miles grabs him. Peter B. Parker jumps out, starts beating the shit out of the Kingpin. He's like, get out of here, Miles. Get out of here. And he's like, save yourself, Miles. And Miles takes the body of Aaron Davis, who swings away. Meanwhile, fucking Jefferson Davis, he's responding to the kerfuffle that's going on in Queens, and he sees this Spider-Man with the body of his brother going like, what the fuck just happened? Eventually, Miles swings into an alleyway. He puts down Uncle Aaron. He's like, Uncle Aaron, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what this happened. He's like, it's not your fault, Miles. I'm sorry. I wanted you to be able to look up to me, and I let you down. I'm a bad uncle. I'm a bad person. But you're the best of us, Miles. You're the absolute best. You're on your way. Ugh, and he dies. He's like, oh. And then eventually Jefferson Davis goes like, fucking freeze, NYPD. Miles just fucking turns invisible and gets out of there. Jefferson Davis is like, oh God, my bro, he's dead, and he's the Prowler. Ah, shit, he's an assassin. This is gonna be bad for the family. And then Miles, he then goes back to his dormitory where he fucking freaks out. He's crying and everything. He's just so angry at the world at this point, chat. Throws a textbook at the window, and the textbook comes flying back, and he grabs it. It's the artwork book, I think, with Expectations. He throws that, comes right back at him. Here's your great expectations, Miles. Oh, the spider people swing in there, and they're like, Miles, listen, we're so sorry for what happened. We all lost someone. I mean, for me, Peter B. Parker's like, for me, it was my Uncle Ben. For Gwen Stacy, or for Spider Noir, it was also my Uncle Ben. Like, it was everyone's Uncle Ben. Gwen Stacy's like, it was my best friend. Penny Parker, it was my dad. And Spider-Ham's like, we can't. And Spider-Ham has like the most emotional speech. He's like, listen, Miles, this kind of job, what we do is dangerous, and sometimes we're not able to save everybody, but we can't blame ourselves. He's like, well, who should I blame? I want revenge against the Kingpin. I'm going to fucking kill him. And Peter Parker's like, no, you're not doing this. You're not coming with us. He's like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm coming with you guys. He's like, you're not ready, Miles. You're not ready. And all the Spider people start leaving. They're like, you wish you luck, Miles. Okay. You're just not ready for this. Gwen's like, bye, I guess. And she leaves. He's like, nah, Gwen, she's cute. And Peter's like, listen, I know you're mad about the situation, but you need to stay here, okay? It's already been decided. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to make sure they all get home safe. I'm going to destroy the machine. He's like, but then you'll die. He's like, I am a 48-year-old schlubby pizza-eating divorced Spider-Man, okay? I have no fucking life. I want to die, Miles. So this is how it's gonna be, okay? He's like, no. And then fucking Peter just starts beating the shit out of him. He's like, if you're fucking so tough, then beat me. Beat me. He fucking sweeps the leg, catches him. He's like, go ahead. Blast me right now. Use that venom blast of yours right now. If you can get through me, a 47-year-old, pot-bellied, nothing to live for Spider-Man, then you can come with us. And Miles can't do it. He can't beat the hobo Spider-Man. Shay's like, I'm sorry. And he goes, you have nothing to apologize for. But just in case, for some insurance, whips him, web shoots him all around the chair till he can't escape. And it's like, stay safe. And he webs, and everyone's like outside the window going, ooh, this is awkward. But they all web swing away. Eventually, Miles, I forgot about the best scene. I'm sorry, I totally forgot about this scene. So when they first get there, Genki comes in. And he's just walking around the dorm, and they're all up in the wall, like on a corner of the wall, and they're all moving, trying to out of his eyesight until eventually he turns around and he looks up from a comic book he's reading, he sees them to go, and then I think Peter Porker says, do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak him out. And he goes, oh, and he fucking faints. I forgot about that comedic bit because of the emotion that was on display, chat. And Miles wants vengeance against the Kingpin. But eventually Miles is just kind of sitting there miserable, and then he hears a knock on the door and says, Dad, it's Jefferson Davis, and he goes, Miles, listen, I know you might be going through something right now, and I know you might be mad at me, but I just want to tell you something bad, really bad has happened, and I just, Miles, I know that I've had troubles relating to you, but I'm so proud of who you are and what you've accomplished, what you do. You are the best of us, Miles. I know that. I know you are, and I love you. You don't have to say you love me back. And like he sees his shadow, and so he knows Miles is in there. And he's like, call me when you're ready. And he walks away. And then Miles is like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. The guilt, the great power and great responsibility. Oh, and of course, chap. I forgot to say this. The last thing that Peter B. Parker says to Miles Morales before he leaves, he says, but Peter, how do I know? How do I know when I'm Spider-Man? And Peter says, you don't. You won't know. It's a leap of faith. Thwip. And then he webs him up. Now stay here, you piece of shit. And then he swings away. He's like, I'm feeling that leap of faith, baby. And he goes, brah! He uses the venom sting to blast himself out of the webs and just covers the webs like in web bukkake, and he swings away. Genki wakes up and just sees jism everywhere, and he's like, fuck it. Goes back to sleep. And then we get that incredible, what's up, danger? That incredible montage, chat, where we see him in the city. Eventually he goes back to Aunt May. She's like, I knew you'd be back, Miles. I knew you would be. And he goes to the cases of spider suits, and he sees the classic one, but he's got to make it a little urban. And so he gets some black spray paint, chat. He's spray. Gets that kind of like graffiti Spider-Man symbol on his chest. It's like, ooh, that's looking good. That means like, I've also made you some web shooters, Miles. They fit perfectly. And he wears them, chat. And he's on the side of this fucking sky. So the next time we see him, he's on this huge skyscraper. And he's like right there. And you hear the Peter B. Parker thing playing in his mind again about, why do you say urban like that? And then we hear the Peter B. Parker like, you'll know when you're Spider-Man, it's just a leap of faith, Miles. And boom, he shoots off, and the glass breaks behind him, chat. And what's up, danger? And he falls down, chat. And then we get this incredible web swing. He has the exaggerated chat. I was building towards it. building towards it, yeah. He web swings through the city like an exaggerated swagger of a black teen, Chad. The swagger is on full display here, my friends, as he swings through the entire city. And eventually he's not very good at the web swing. He's still rusty, or he's still struggling with it. But he's doing a whole bunch of poor people going like, what the fuck, what was that? And but it's the new Spider-Man chat until he finally gets to this bank, top of this bank, which says Trust Us Bank, which I thought was very funny. And he's just up there. He takes the mask off, and he's like, yeah, I'm fucking Spider-Man, baby. Thank you, Black Stuff with the 10 minutes. I absolutely love the What Up Danger montage. It gets me emotional. It does. It's a beautiful moment. The cue thing is low. That GameSpot review, nice reference, Chris. Thank you. I was building towards it. Eventually, he take that exaggerated web swinging. Eventually, Chet will takes him all the way to the Fisk compound, where we see the other spider people, Chet. They need to infiltrate this big fucking gala that's being done in honor of the death of Spider-Man. They swing there, and they see that Kingpin is using this as a front at the moment, as a distraction. And so he can do his collider experiments and also take out all of his enemies, chat. And we see that Mary Jane Watson's in attendance, like all these big notable Spider-Man supporting characters. You would think they're all there. And they're like, and they notice that all the wait staff is wearing Spider-Man suits. And they're like, well, that's kind of in poor taste. And Gwen's like, what a pig, referencing Fisk. And fucking Spider-Ham's like, I'm right here, bitch. She's like, I'm sorry. Company excluded, of course. And he's like, well, it's not going to be that easy, right? And they're literally just walking around in their full suits, serving, dinners and bread and stuff. But then Peter B. Parker, he spots Mary Jane Watson of this world. He's like, I'm going to go talk to her. And Gwen's like, no, Peter, no, that's not your Mary Jane. That's not, he's like, I know that. I'm going to go talk to her. She's like, you idiot. And he goes over there and, actually he turns around. She's like right in front of him. And he's like, oh, hi. She goes, hi, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to let you know that table 12 needs some more bread. He goes, bread, of course, we'll get you the bread. Listen, I just want to say that I'm sorry for just not being there for you when you needed me, and I'm really sorry about it, and I want kids too now. And she's like, I don't know who you are. And fucking Gwen's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry he's going through a lot. He's like, I'm going through a lot. And she's like, it's okay. I'm going to get you all the bread in the world because you deserve it. And the babies too. You'll have so many bread babies. And she's like, all right. And eventually they infiltrate. We see Kingpin. He leaves the gala. Like, oh, that's that fat fuck. He's going to the collider. They go to the collider too. They infiltrate there. And they see that he's fixed the machines, restarted the machine. Dr. Octavia's chat, Liv Octavia, she's doing her hacking and stuff, making sure the machine's working. And they turn that fucking baby on. And Peter B. Parker's like, okay, guys, as soon as I put in the goober, you're going to jump into the beam. All right, you're going to jump in the beam, go back to your various worlds, and I'll blow it up. And they're like, cool, but what about you? He's like, I'm going to stay here and die. Sounds good? Sounds good. Parker guilt for the win. But, all the fucking sirens start going off, chap, because now they're all starting to glitch like, and they're being attacked by the various villains, chat. So Scorpion shows up there. Doc Ock, she shows up, and she starts beating the shit out of Peter B. Parker. He's like, I think you have something for me. She's like, I'm really into thick dad bods. Oh, God. And she starts beating him up. Scorpion's doing his thing. Tombstone's doing his thing. But eventually they're being beaten, chat. They're being beaten. The machine is growing in power. Like all of New York, as we're seeing, is starting to become all glitched out, and there's things phasing in and out of reality. Like reality itself could end, chat, because of this experiment. All the fucking sudden, right before Liv is about to squeeze the life out of Dad Bod Spider-Man, chat, her own tentacle starts hitting her in the face. She's like, what the fuck? Ah! And then everyone's like, looks, and they're like, wait a minute. What's going on? And then this big venom blast hits Doc Ock in the face, and it's revealed to be Miles. It's Miles, holy shit. And he starts doing all these amazing Spider-Man feats, and this inspires everyone to battle against their various foes. Although, poor Penny Parker, her spider suit is destroyed by Scorpion, chat. Completely destroyed. It dies horribly. It's being pierced by the mechanical stinger, and she's saved by Spider Noir. And fucking Peter Parker's like, hey, he drops an anvil on his head. And Scorpion's like, what the fuck? What? Dios mío. And he's like, Dios mío, what'd you do? And he's like, hey, you want to fuck with someone, fuck with me. And he's like, oh my God, are you a cartoon? He's like, what do you got against cartoons? Can a cartoon do this? And he literally takes out a giant mallet and just bludgeons Scorpion to death until he's dead, chat. Spider-Ham kills the Scorpion. It's like, oh my God. But then Spider-Noir, he rescues Penny, and then also rescues the little radioactive spider she has a psychic bond with. But then the spider suit dies. It dies forever, Chad. It's trapped in this reality. It's so sad. And they swing over to the wall where they all meet up with Miles. And that's the thing too. Peter, Gwen, and Miles, they're battling Doc Ock, and she's holding her own against 3 Spider people, Chad. She's kicking a lot of ass. She's just laughing manically and everything. And eventually they're like, okay, guys, this is gonna last a lot longer than we thought. And the machine's going crazy at this point, so things are flying in the room itself, like buildings and cars and debris. And she's like, she's about to hit him, and then she's hit by a semi-truck. Now, I wonder if she's dead. I wonder if she's indeed dead, Chad. I'm very curious about that. I hope not, because I really do like her character. Her little spider friend does live. He lives. The robot, I guess, dies. Which I thought the robot is the spider, but who knows? She seemed really broken about the robot dying. After that, chat, we then cut to them all on the wall. And they're like super proud of him. I was like, you fucking did it, kid. You knocked him a good one, just like punching Adolf Hitler. And he's like, yes, just like Hitler. And he's like, I'm going to say goodbye to all you guys. And it's like, okay, Penny, you first. She's like, bye, Miles. You did great. And she jumps in her little anime world. It's all anime-esque, chat. Arigato and all that. We then cut to Spider-Noir. Oh, Spider-Noir has a running gag in the movie. I forgot about this. Where he has a Rubik's Cube. And he's like, I don't understand this, but I'm taking this with me. I love you guys. And then he drops into his monochromatic world. And the next person is Gwen. And Miles is like, you're so hot. She's like, I know. And she goes into her world. She's like, actually, no, I like it. There's like, it was so great to meet you, friends. And she goes, friends. And they shake hands, Chad. A nice platonic relationship, which is bullshit because they're going to be smooching in the next movie, as we all know. But she jumps into her world, and now Miles is like, all right, Peter B. Parker, now your turn. But then, we see Kingpin. He's like, fuck this. I want my goddamn family. He almost got his family back. He almost took a family from another reality, but the whole experiment got all messed up. And he's on the side of the building like, I'm going to kill all you spider people at this point. And Peter B. Parker's like, Miles, just shut the machine. I'll deal with Kingpin. And Miles is like, no. And Peter B. Parker, he web swings off. Miles tackles him. And Peter's like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, what are you doing, man? What are you talking about? Go home. He's like, I can't do it. I'm fat and I'm miserable. My wife doesn't like me. And he goes, dude, you need to work on yourself. And he's like, I'll do whatever the hell I want. And like, Miles trips him right over the edge of his collider. And he's like, I'm just scared, Miles. I'm just scared. Okay, I don't want to mess it up. And he's like, you won't mess it up, man. It's a leap of faith. And he's like, not bad, kid. And he's like, you ready to go home? I'm ready. Drops him, Chad, and he goes back to his reality. And now it's Miles Morales v. Kingpin, an absolute unit of a man. And Kingpin's like, I killed one fucking Spider-Man. I can kill another. And he's like, let's go, Kingpin. And we get an amazing battle. He doesn't understand color at all. He's like, I don't know what this is. What's purple? Is this purple? No. Is this purple? No. I love that. Only black, white, and gray, Jeff. But then we get this incredible action sequence between Miles Morales and the Kingpin, where this subway car comes in and Miles grabs onto it and the Kingpin enters in and they're fighting. It gets like really intimate and stuff. But then because the machine is all messed up, and it's crossing over so many dimensions at once, we see all these various Vanessa and Richard Fisks from different realities looking at this battle with Kingpin, with Wilson Fisk and Spider-Man. They're going like, oh my God, Wilson, you're a monster. He's like, no, Vanessa, Richard, you know me. Please, don't leave me. Yeah, and he's so sad. And he fucking flips out. He's so furious. And he breaks out of the thing. He's still battling Miles. He's like, you've taken everything from me. You ain't no fucking Spider-Man. You're nothing. You're just some fucking schmuck in a suit. And he just keeps wailing on him, Chad, again. And Miles keeps falling. He keeps hitting him again. He keeps falling. And then we see that Jefferson Davis, he's entered the facility, and like right before like Miles tries to get up one time, Kingpin just goes, bah, just hits him. Head hits the floor, concrete, just, oh my God. The head trauma must be immense. But he wakes up all derpy, and he sees Jefferson Davis like, get up, Spider-Man. Get up, you can do it. You can. And his dad, who said, I fucking hate Spider-Man. I hate him. He's a menace. But even in this moment, he's like, get up, Spider-Man. You can do it. And Spider-Man, like Kingpin's walking away, and he's like, hey, Kingpin. And Kingpin's like, what? And he like marches back towards Miles. He's like, has anyone ever told you about the shoulder touch? He goes, huh? And he touches his shoulder. Hey. And then electrocutes his big fat ass, Chad. And then he shoots off. Miles grabs him with he thwips him, and he starts throwing him around the entire way, Chad, and then boom, throws him right at the slot where they should have put the booper, Chad. You know, in hindsight, it probably would have just been easier to electrocute a fat guy and throw him at the machine instead of creating this goober thing. It would have been a lot easier, Chad. Just take a fat guy and use his fat ass to destroy, and it destroys the machine. It blows up, Chad. It completely destroys itself. It's like, yay, we all did it. We then cut outside where Jefferson Davis is A-okay. He gets a call from Miles. He picks up Miles. Miles, you okay? He's like, hey, Dad, it's me. Yeah. Listen, if you're busy, you know, I can call. He's like, no. I have time. He's like, listen, I just want to make sure that you're okay. And I want to tell you that Uncle Aaron, he's like, I know, Dad. I know all about it. And he's like, oh, listen, when you're ready to talk to me more, just please come home, okay? I want to. And that's when he hangs up, when Miles hangs up, he goes, wait, Miles, goddamn C-Mobile. He calls it C-Mobile instead of T-Mobile. And then Miles Morales, Spider-Man, swings down. He goes, excuse me, Detective Davis? And he's like, oh, Spider-Man, it's good to have you here on the scene. And then Miles just hugs his dad. And just hugs him like that. And he's like, okay. And he's like, it'll be great working with you, sir. And he goes, yes, indeed. Although I don't approve of your methods, but I appreciate what you do for the city. And he's like, I also left you a gift. I love you. He goes, you love me? What? And then he sees behind him, the Kingpin is all webbed up in this giant web with a little sign that says, from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And we get this epic montage, very similar to okay, he's like, one more time telling the origin story. I am Spider-Man. I am the only Spider-Man of my world, and I've been Spider-Man for about a week. And it's him going around the city, him high-five. It was like, yo, Spider-Man. Everyone's so happy for him. He's doing his web crawling. He's doing his web swinging chat, hopping around the goddamn city. I am the world's only Spider-Man. And it's a fucking great feeling. Take that, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, white Spider-Man. Black Latino Spider-Man's in town. And that, my friends, is my scene by scene breakdown of Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse. But is that the end of the movie? No, Chad, because then after this incredible end credit sequence of all colors and character models and shit, we cut to the very end where we see Miguel O'Hara, chat, Spider-Man 2099, talking to Cortana. And she's like, the multiverse is being destroyed. You must save the franchises, Oscar Isaac. He's like, okay, no problem, de nada. And he is then teleported to Spider-Man 1967, where we get the meme. It's like, I'm Spider-Man. It's like, no, I'm Spider-Man. You're not Spider-Man. It's like, no, and it's hilarious, chat. It's wonderful. And that, my friends, is my scene by scene breakdown of Spider-Man into the Spider. Oh yeah, we also get the thing. Oh yeah, Miles says, how did your uncle die? That's exactly. How do you know? Now, I will say, Prowler's death could have leaked to the news. That's true. What does bother me, if I have one other criticism of the movie, is sometimes the background animation kind of hurts my eyes. The other part is that Miles and his dad honor Aaron, even though he was an assassin, a supervillain, and a murderer. I'm like, I don't think he deserved to have such respect, but I mean, it's family. It's complicated. They have their flaws, but but I was like, he is kind of a fucking asshole. But all right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Ew, indeed. Water under the bridge, I suppose. Val, cute my base. Venom Morbius, maybe the Faustian prince we have to pay for MCU Spidey. But Spider-Verse definitely makes it worth the pain. It's good. It's a good movie. Family, bro, vroom. Stabbing Spider-Man in the tummy. Family. Indeed. But yeah, Chad, I hope you enjoyed my spoiler review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Despite my minimal criticism, some of the background information kind of hurts my eyes. How they deal with Prowl at the end is kind of weird to me. But overall, it's a better than sex film on the DT scale, Chad. Better than sex. Witness me, Mr. Hummendinger. Thank you for the raid. Everybody on the dance floor. Raid, thank you, Mr. Hummendinger. I hope you're doing very well tonight, good sir. A pleasure to have you. Alex Bernal, YouTube editor extraordinary Alex Bernal. There goes Mr. Ring. If they gave up rise for being Thank you, Alex Bernal. Thank you, Mr. Army. How you doing, man? Naya Brownie, Wowie Brownie, Naya Brownie, you're back. You got your internet back. Yay! I hope you're doing well, Naya Brownie. Divine Miss Klein, good to see you as a non-dog pooping raid, everybody. Mr. Anderson. Have you seen a Tragedy Macbeth? I have. They look good. I'm excited for it. No, an absolute pleasure. Scruffy D25, good to see you. Hey, Shub, I'm making meatball subs over here. Also, hi. Nice. That's good. You're doing today right now. Alex Manal, thank you for the host. Spreading the word of the Revenites. There's the words going out there, Chad. Hopefully. Not only more Revenites, but also Huckleberries, Grinches as well. An absolute pleasure to have you guys here. I just finished my review. Finished my review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was so much fun. Mister, how many think of the 100? Ooh, we're on the cusp of a hype train. Thank you so much. Hi, Divine Miss Klein. Good to see you. Thank you. Mr. for the 150 biddies. Stream Rudolph for the Wii today. No exaggeration. Took 15 minutes. I believe that. Some of that shovelware I see. Wow. Very cool. Thank you, guys. Oh, yeah, please do refresh the stream. I encourage you to do so, since sadly, raid viewership does not count towards average viewership. But yeah, we'll just do a little bit of wrap-up session for Spider-Man. So much fun. Blackstone, thank you for the 70 biddies. Thank you. RD, I left you at the mallet scene because I thought was Eustace from Courage. Eustace, that's it. I'm getting my mallet. That's true. Great. Yeah, great little. You have a problem with cartoons? So funny. No, good to see you guys. It's been an excellent stream today. We've had so many people stop by, so many subs and biddies. Oh, it's been great. So good. Useless? No. Eustace. Mm-hmm. Oh, my Lord, Chuck. Yeah, fun review and the Spider-Man shenanigans shall continue tomorrow. I will be doing a scene-by-scene breakdown to Spider-Man Homecoming. And then on Wednesday, chat, I will be doing my review for Spider-Man Far From Home. And then Friday, I'll be doing a non-spoiler review for No Way Home, which would be really, really exciting. Can't wait to see that movie, chat. Ooh, baby. But now, my friends, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy about all you guys being here. We're going to switch over to some Halo Infinite. However, if a hype train is to happen, Chad, I want to give it time. But thank you, Blackstone, for the 70 biddies. Oh, my Lord. Ace Rock. All right, I'm going to head to bed, everyone. Ace Rock, thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the review, good sir. Appreciate you. I wonder if the MCU will do a live-action Miles. China will not be fond of it. No, they're not. They will not, sadly. He'll be the smallest character on the poster. But I think they will eventually. They have already established that, Aaron Davis exists in the MCU. Donald Glover was Prowler. Or is, going to be Prowler. It was my birthday on the 8th. Does that mean I get a song for? Yes, of course it means, yes, Alex Manal. Send that to Naya Brownie. She, or Newsy Ducky, they are the keeper of the songs. Actually, this was a brilliant review. Thank you, Blackstone. Thank you. It was fun. It was super, super fun. I can't wait to do the last 2 Spider-Man films, chat. And after that, I'll be all caught up. Miles from Home. Oh, that's perfect, Deadpool. That's perfect. There we go. That's nice. Kazfay, thank you so much for the 10 biddies. Thank you, Kazfay. Good to quiz home, man. Yeah, chat. It's been a fun stream tonight. Good way to start the week, chat. Excellent way to finish it. From evil. My birthday is Saturday, so you better do what I want. It is? Is it? Okay, if you say so. Does that mean Jackbox? Does that mean a whole bunch of jackboxing now? Unbelievable. Does that mean, are we jackboxing? We can do jackboxing with Class in the Glass on Saturday. We can do some of that. That'll be fun. Perfect. So for Naya Brownie's birthday, we're going to be doing some jackboxing chat.
I'm Mr. White Christmas.
But join us, like, I owe you a song. Every time it's your birthday, I owe songs. So I'll try to do some songs tonight. Luke Boss, I still say it's a missed opportunity for Miles Morales not to have a Brooklyn accent. I'm not just talking specifically this movie, just in all his appearances, because Brooklyn is such a distinct guy. Yeah, I always liked that. I like that Tom Holland made the effort to give his Peter Parker and Queen, like, he has a New York accent, which none of the other Spider-Mans really had one. I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome, and he gave Peter that New York accent. You do what I want, okay. All right, we'll find out what that is. I don't know what that means. We shall soon see. Very exciting. Again, guys, thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. I'm just going to take a quick break, and then we're going to transition over to my Halo Infinite. Since I wrote down chat fan birthdays, I can independently confirm this Saturday is Naya's birthday. Okay. All right. Well, Divine Miss Klein says so, then it's the truth, chat. It is the truth. All right. That's what I'll do, then. Thank you, Divine Miss Klein. I believed her. I'm messing with Naya. I like to mess with her. Oh, my Lord. But no, an absolute pleasure to have you here, guys. Again, thank you, Mr. Hummendinger, for the raid chat. Please do check out Mr. Hummendinger's streams. Give that man some support. Pleasure to have Naya here. Alex Benalta. Real McCoy, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Divine Miss Klein again, thank you so much. Who else has stopped by? We had a lot of people stopping by. Who are some of the other new people? Scruffy D25, a pleasure to have you here. No, good to see so many nice faces, chat. It's awesome. I think it's October 9th. Okay, you gotta bring that up again. Chat, I will be right back. Entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I shall return.